Wow.
Wednesday morning, everybody. It's the main events. What a morning we've had so far. Dale just throws out a name out of context.
No. I just said, hey, it's Randy Savage's birthday.
Out of nowhere, he just says Randy Savage birthday.
And you said, who's Randy Savage?
Right?
Yeah.
Wrestling fans
Macho
know.
Man.
Macho Man.
Randy Savage.
Oh, Randy Savage is going to be your buddy with your golf course that you're going to later on. I don't know.
My goodness.
Out of context
Come
and
on.
everything. You didn't even know it was Macho Man.
There's only one Randy Savage, Steve.
One of those mornings here, folks.
You call yourself a wrestling fan.
I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and you know him as 17-year NFL veteran, just throwing out names just randomly out there that nobody knows. 3-time Super Bowl champion for your Dallas Cowboys. Dale Hellestray, everybody.
Good morning, Steven. How are you?
Doing all right today.
Yeah, better than yesterday. You are fired up this morning.
I know. I got some anger out yesterday. Avoid classic collision, folks, if you need your car fixed. I'll just call them out right now. Avoid classic collision. I've had good success with them in the past, but not this time. We'll just cut that story short. Avoid classic collision.
Is there a certain location that you would say?
All of them, because if they're hiring guys like Joe as general managers, avoid them altogether. Because they're probably all that way. I've taken several cars to them. In all seriousness, I've taken several cars to them, and they've always been great. Always been great. And yesterday, they weren't. Let's just put it that way. I matched energies yesterday, folks. Riley's got a story for you guys when he gets back. He's on vacation right now. Riley's headed back to Wisconsin right now. When Riley gets back, he'll have a story for you guys.
Why is Riley going back to Wisconsin in December?
I know. That's what I asked him. I go, this is the time of year you go to Wisconsin? Yeah, I don't know. Family thing, I guess, is what he's doing back there. But, I asked the same question. But, yeah, Riley have a story for you guys out there. But avoid classic collision for your repair needs. No matter how much your insurance company tells you how great they are. They're not classic. And boy, is there a collision when you go in there with an attitude from Joe, the general manager. Just saying. Queen Creek. Dale, how you doing today, man? Going golfing today? Is this your first time golfing since they reseeded?
This is first day golfing since the overseed. The carts are off the path. Looks like a nice day.
Oh, yeah. What is it, 69 or a high or something ridiculous
something like
that?
Went out and hit a few golf balls yesterday. I still don't hit the ball very far.
Are you sore today from driving range yesterday?
Actually, on Monday I went out, and for some reason, like my left bicep was bothering me, and I'm like, what did I do?
You had good form. That's the problem. I used to, when I take like a month off of golf and then go back, and all of a sudden I'm hitting the ball farther, straighter. And I'm like, oh, and then people, my guy that I took lessons from would be like, yeah, it's because you're hitting the ball the way you're supposed to.
Right.
He goes, that'll be the last time you do it until you take another break.
Yeah, you forgot all your bad habits.
He goes, and then the more you play now, you're gonna get all those habits back, and then when you take another break, you'll do it again. And I'm just like, oh, that's the secret to golf. You play for a couple weeks, you take a month off, play for a couple weeks. So Dale's going to go play golf today. We're going to have to get that update tomorrow. Maybe Dale will match energies later on today.
You know what, Steve? I would handle things different than you.
Well, I mean, I matched his energy. He was being a jerk to me, so I became a bigger jerk to him.
He said, well, what is this from? I'd say, everything from the accident.
I did say that. And the girl said I had an attitude and was being rude to her, and she went and got her boss.
The car was in pristine condition when it got stolen.
I said, this car was here in May. I picked it up. I put it in my garage. That's the extent I saw it. It was stolen like a week and a half later. I didn't drive it in that time frame. It was in my garage. I have not seen this car except for maybe 20 minutes since last time I picked it up from here. And they're like, but is it our car or your car? You know more about this car than I do. No, in this instance, you know more about this car than I do. The girl that's off today, who I love, Pam is amazing there. Pam, I'm gonna give you a shout out. Pam is amazing there. Her boss is an a-hole. Her boss actually said, Dale, as her boss goes, because Pam was off yesterday, and her boss there, Joe, my buddy Joe, he goes, she's my employee, and she does what I say. And I went, okay, buddy. Okay, Tiger. Settle down. It's a car. Settle down.
It's a car you want to sell.
It's a car that I'm trying to get fixed so I can sell, folks. But then, so the last time I took it in there, this is my favorite part of the story. Besides the fact, I'll admit it right here on the air. I was a complete a-hole to the guy. I was screaming at him, being a jerk because he wanted me. He wanted to be that way. So I was like, I'll match your energy. I don't give a crap. And I was like, I'm taking this car and leaving. I don't care. I'm not giving it to you. But then he was such a jerk to me that last time I took it in there in May, they put the wrong headlight in. So I have 2 different headlights on my car, which drives me nuts. One has a running light on. So like Riley's following me in the car after we picked it up from Santan Ford. And like one light has the running light on it and the other light doesn't. So it's just annoying me in my rearview mirror the whole drive over there. I can just see it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm selling the car. I don't care. Let's just get it in, get the repairs done, and I can sell it when it's done, whatever. I get there. The guy's such a royal jerk to me. And I'm matching his energy that I just finally blurt out and go, you know what? You didn't even fix it right last time. You think you're all high and mighty? And then he's like making all these excuses. Oh, there's rock chips in there. We don't fix rock chips. And I go, it's not the rock chips, dude. Look, pay attention. Look at the lights. They're different lights. He's like, well, we could fix that under warranty. I go, perfect. I go, forget about this claim. Take the car in and fix the warranty because you guys didn't fix it right the first time. You guys failed at your job back in May. And then he lost his mind. And he didn't want to hear that. So now I'm going to make him fix the warranty claim, Dale. Which I wasn't going to do in the first place. I'm going to have them fix this for their own money now, which I wasn't going to do in the first time. All because Joe was a jerk.
You're right back there, aren't you?
Somebody named Joe. Call into the show right now so I can yell at you too, just because you have the same name. So that was my yesterday, Dale. It was brutal.
So many good things happened yesterday, Steve.
I don't even know. I just went home, played Call of Duty with Ethan.
Can't start killing things.
Yeah. Ireland. Me and Ireland were hanging out last night and everything. And then me and Ethan were playing Call of Duty. And then I went, you know what? I'm going to bed. I didn't pay attention to anything. And then I was depressed because I watched Drew Penzing's press conference yesterday. Maybe that's why I was like so interested in matching energies with that guy at Classic Collision.
Well, I heard Nick Rawls talk about how exciting it is to go against all these NFC West offenses.
He did.
So exciting.
You know what? I'm going to give Nick Rawls, except for my big problem with him, and I've said here before, late in games, the defense goes soft and puts no pressure on them, and they allow them to go down and score. Right? We talked about this with the not the Titans, the Jags. Cardinals take the lead. Jaguars just march down the field with minimal effort against them. But what I can't figure out late in games and what I think is happening is just the defense is tired. They've been on the field the whole time. The Titans did it to them. The Packers did it to them. So that's what I don't know. So I don't know. I'm giving Nick Rawls a little bit of grace here with that problem because I'm like, maybe he knows the defense better than we do in that moment. And maybe they're just tired. Maybe it's not the play calling. Maybe he has to play call it that way because these guys are, tongues are dragging on the ground. They're so tired and worn out. But that defense has been playing well. I'll give him credit where credit's due. They've been overperforming again this year. Not to the level I feel like they were overperforming last year. Do you see Kazir White got cut by the Titans? He's had a hamstring issue all year. But if he's healthy, man, bring that heart and soul into this defense. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, so he gets cut. Why? You got you got your boy.
Everybody's cutting everybody.
Yeah, you got your boy Chris Paul. Who just out of the blue in the middle of the season on a road trip.
There has to be now. Chris Paul hasn't been playing much. He's been in and out of the lineup, but now it's his final year. All that. Doesn't there have to be more? Like, didn't Chris Paul say, look, I'm not playing. What are we doing here? Like, there's got to be more to this story. And the reason why I say this is, one, if you don't know, Chris Paul is a Clippers legend out there. Like, turned around that franchise at one time, all of that stuff.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, and all of that. So treating him this way. But there's got to be more to this story. And I'm not knocking Chris Paul if he's not getting the playing time. Maybe he said, look, I'm not getting playing time. And they're like, look, we don't need your attitude here. We love you, but get out of here. But the interesting thing about this is they put up with Bradley Beal. They signed Bradley Beal knowing he wasn't going to play. Now he's got a broken hip and he's out for the year. You got Kawhi Leonard who doesn't play, and you eat all these contracts, but Chris Paul's you're drawing the line where you're like, we're not putting up with this. Chris Paul, you're out of here. Doesn't that tell you that maybe there's Chris Paul's not happy with his playing time, so they're like, we're gonna help you out a little bit and get you out of here?
See, I don't think he's going to play anymore.
He'll sign with the team.
I don't know. Well, why do you release him at 3 a.m.
Well, that's
on
my
Wednesday?
That's my issue. What are we doing?
Did he come back from a strip club late? Did he miss curfew?
And they're on the road, too.
Yeah, they're in Atlanta.
The hotel. Yeah, they're not even like in L.A.
Yeah, send him back to L.A.
Yeah. Here's the Los Angeles Clippers' actual statement on letting Chris Paul go. Hall of Famer, rebuilt that franchise. One of the reasons they signed him was because they knew it was his final year, and he's a legend. He literally turned that franchise around at one time. Quote, we are parting ways with Chris Paul, and he will no longer be with the team. We will work with him on the next step of his career. Chris is a legendary Clipper who has a historic career. I want to make one thing very clear. No one is blaming Chris for our underperformance. I accept responsibility for the record we have right now, and there are a lot of reasons why we've struggled. We're grateful for the impact Chris has made on the franchise. That's from Ballmer, the Los Angeles Clippers statement. Dale, they went out of their way to mention, I want to be clear, no one's blaming Chris for our underperformance. What does cutting a guy at midnight on the road that you couldn't wait until you got back to L.A.?
Yeah.
You couldn't wait till the sun came up today and you went to shoot around and you had the conversation? You're absolutely blaming Chris Paul for whatever's going on with that team right now. I'm not going to say underperformance, but you are 100% when you have Kawhi Leonard still sitting on that bench. When you signed Bradley Beal.
And he's out for the year.
Yes, and you signed Bradley Beal knowing Bradley Beal was an injury prone and he wasn't playing much of the game. You are 100% blaming Chris Paul for whatever is happening in that locker room. It might not be the underperformance, but something's happening and you're blaming him in that situation. But why Chris Paul are they drawing this line?
Yeah, that's what's just so fast. And again,
the thing, well, really quick, the thing that Chris Paul posted was, I just got told I'm being released. And that was like at midnight. Anyway, so that tells me Chris Paul wasn't involved in that situation. That told me Chris Paul wasn't involved in the conversation.
Well, I mean, he's smart enough. He's 40 years old. He understands nobody else is going to sign him.
If you could sign him, why not? If he wants to finish out his year, like he doesn't fit into the Suns team. He just doesn't. But if you say, hey, Chris Paul, come back. We're going to pay you the league minimum. Come back here. Give us leadership off the bench. You're not going to play very much. And then if he goes, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not throw it out there and sign him for a cheap deal?
Well, they owe him $3.6 million.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So
you couldn't trade him till December 15th.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just so weird. A guy who has never had – he's had issues, but it's – okay, he's too demanding on some of his teammates' issues.
Yes.
Not a malcontent, not a party guy, not a
he wears his welcome thin early in his career.
Yeah, but that's not I'm trying to think of the reason why you're cutting him at midnight.
No, that's my argument.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, you couldn't wait. Like you said, you couldn't wait a couple days till you're back in LA.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait till the sun came up. Like I said, you couldn't wait till breakfast time and you're getting ready to go to shoot around. And you go, hey, Chris.
Hey,
stock.
What about making a few changes?
Yeah, exactly. That's so weird of a story. And then I just sit there and go, all the wasted money on the Clippers lineup, right, that they've wasted money on over the years with guys sitting, and this is where you're drawing the line? I don't know. I'm conflicted on this.
Maybe he got in late from the Cheetah Club. You never know, Steve.
Here's Paul, man. He's a family man, Dan.
Always wanted to be close to his family.
Robert says at TME Sports Show, don't forget, text us 623-252-6670. Or, of course, hit us up on X at TME Sports Show as well. Out there, Robert says you've taken several cars to them. This may be a you issue. Okay, several means, well, this car was going to go in there for the second time. Okay, the first one, I ran over an 18-wheel tire on the freeway one time. With this white car, I was driving down the freeway, Dale, just driving, minding my own business, US 60, and I go to change lanes. So I move over. There's just this giant tire sitting there. I hit it square on, took out the whole front of the car. Just took out the whole front of the car. So I had to take it in for that. And then that was the
main. Did they do a good job?
No, they did.
Was Joe there?
I'm sure Joe was. I don't deal with Joe. I deal with his employee that does nothing but what Joe says. Pam's amazing there, folks. Pam is a godsend. Like she has been, and that's the thing, for like the last 6 months. This car was stolen in June, people. For like the last 6 months, Pam's been working with me, the insurance company, calling me. Like I don't know anything about this car, but Pam knows everything about it because she's been calling people and doing all this to get it in there, and and all of that stuff. And she's been amazing to work with. But then I was bringing it back this time, and then the other time, by several I mean this was my third attempt. That's way too many attempts. To me, that's several if you're taking your car to collision places. But my other one was I had a Toyota hybrid back in the day, and somebody hit me like in a parking lot or something, and my front end was like dragging on the ground. And cars today, you can't just snap it back up. I had to have the whole front bumper redone. So I took it in there. That was the first time with them. Literally, I dropped it off to him. I picked it up like a couple weeks later, Dale. And week and a half later, I'm driving down the road, and this teenage kid fell asleep driving behind the wheel and just T-bones my car, totals it.
Really?
Yeah, literally a week and a half after I picked it up from there. And then this time I picked it up in May. Week and a half later, 2 weeks, car stolen out of my garage. Yeah, I know. I should probably not take it there.
No.
I just want him to fix the warranty.
I say get rid of the white car.
No, that's what I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
Dale. If you want a white car with damage, it's not terrible damage on the front. It's not awful. I mean, it's drivable and everything. There's some black marks and some damage to it, some dings in it. If you want one, let me know. I'm selling it cheap, $1,000. You can have it. I'll put it out on the airways right now. Just take it off my hands. This car's cursed for me. It won't be cursed for you.
I was going to say, that's not a good selling point.
Exactly. No, it's cursed for me. It won't be cursed for you. Got 165,000 miles on it. I was going to keep it for Ireland. That's the whole reason I've been doing all this stuff was because, she's going to get ready to drive. Now I'm just like, nope, getting rid of this car. I'm not giving this car to my soon-to-be driving daughter. No, we're going to get her a different car.
Yeah, you're going to give her the cursed car?
Yeah, no, we're just going to get rid of that. Because 165,000 miles, if it breaks, it breaks. Who cares, right? It's been paid off forever and everything. But so, yeah, several cars. It means this was my third time going there. But that's way too much for a collision place is my point here. That was my point here over the years and everything. But, yeah, so. Yeah, the Chris Paul thing's just really weird. And then the statement going out of their way to say, we're not blaming him for this. Well, who are you blaming then? Because that's what it looks like.
It's just so, it's not like, hey, we're in talks, we're going nowhere this year.
Yeah.
Chris has been a great Clipper.
Like the Adam Thielen situation.
Yeah.
He went to the Vikings. Vikings are going nowhere. It's his last year. And he goes, I want to have an impact on a team. And the Vikings went, all right, we'll accommodate you. And they worked out the deal and they cut him. Poor guy goes to the Steelers of all teams. They pull him off of. Are you pissed today if the Steelers pick you up? You're like, ooh, Vikings are gone. I can go to a good team, like maybe the Panthers, maybe Jacksonville. Steelers.
Maybe the Colts.
Steelers. Yeah, none of that out there. That is just a weird situation that's where you draw the line. I find it hard to believe that Chris Paul's a malcontent in terms of like causing problems in the locker room and stuff like that. He's been around long enough. Now, he does wear out his welcome, but I hardly doubt he's going that locker trying to cause problems in that locker room. Maybe we'll hear that, but I just don't. He's not that type of guy.
You wouldn't think so.
Where people go sideways with Chris Paul is he's too hard on him when he's playing with them because he expects them to be better, and he's like an Aaron Rodgers type guy. Where tons of talent, he just rubs people the wrong way when they don't want to always play with him.
So hold on. So I gave you the name Randy Savage. You're like, who the hell is that?
We're talking about my classic collision thing with my buddy Joe over there.
Yeah.
And then you just randomly go, it's Randy Savage's birthday today.
Yeah,
and
and
I go, when's golf today? When you got to leave today? Coach Sheehan's at 9:00, his third championship in a row. He's nice enough to grace us with his presence this morning at 9:00. And then you just go, hey, it's Randy Savage's birthday today.
And you say, who's Randy Savage? But you're a wrestling fan.
But
I can say that.
But I'm not thinking wrestling in that moment. I'm thinking, if you would have said Macho Man, I would have been like, oh, yeah, cool. It's his birthday today. All right, good for him.
So
Rest in peace.
so in other words, you're not as into wrestling as you make us all think. Number one.
First of all, I'm not. I tolerate wrestling. I enjoy it. The events are funner than heck to go to, but I don't watch it every Monday and Friday. And like, I didn't watch Survivor Series on Saturday. I didn't watch it. It's just I'm not into it as much as you would think I would be. Yeah, as well. You don't even know Macho Man's dead. On top of it. So.
Oh, is he dead?
Yes, he didn't even know that.
So when I say Liv Morgan, do I have to say?
Oh, no, you don't have to. No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Oh,
I know exactly who Liv Morgan
oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of her. She's
she came back on she came back from her vacation. They don't call them vacations. They get injured and then disappear for 6 months.
Really?
In wrestling circles, in wrestling terms, yes.
Okay.
Or they get suspended. WWE's like, we're suspending you for your actions. You're suspended indefinitely, and then they're like in Cabo and healing up or having back surgery or plastic surgery or whatever they're doing. And then they come back and they're like, it's off suspension now, and their vacation's over.
Is Liv Morgan a good wrestler?
She's good.
Watch your voice.
I know. Do you hear my voice?
Yeah, watch your voice.
She's good.
Crack.
She's good. I enjoy wrestling.
Okay.
I don't know why my voice just cracked.
Yeah, well,
that was awkward.
She looks kind of pretty.
Dale, quit looking at the pictures there.
Well, it just is on ESPN.
If I said how old is Liv Morgan, what would you say?
I just saw a quick picture. I'd say early 30s.
Yeah, 31. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. They're all Tiffany Strata's like 24, I think. She's in her early 20s. Other than that, everybody is 30 plus. And it's an amazing thing to know that. Because like I said, it just takes time to get up there.
Yeah.
You know, unless you come from like whichever Paul brother, Logan Paul or whatever his name is. I get the Paul brothers confused because I don't care. But you know, he's younger, obviously. He's in his 30s now too. But he started younger because he went into wrestling from his other stuff,
social media,
you know, and all of that. So that's how you can get into it younger. But otherwise, yeah, like LA Knight's like 45 years old, man, and he's like one of the top billed guys right now. 42, 43, something like that. 45. Oof. I don't know, the way my body feels in the morning after just sitting in the seats watching him wrestle. Couldn't imagine flying through the air and stuff, Dale.
You couldn't.
And then waking up the next morning and doing stuff on that, yeah. It's going to be fun to see. But, I mean, there's even games are getting flexed in the NFL. Other people are getting, Darius Slay got cut by the Steelers today.
I did see that.
I find that interesting. But teams are cutting some guys. Hey, Cardinals. Gonna pick anybody up? That's the question, Dale. Gonna pick anybody up?
I just looked up Liv Morgan. It says, who does Liv Morgan have a crush on? It says Steve McCullum.
I know she won't. You know what? I had to block her for a little bit there.
Did you?
Just be like, Liv, you gotta stop texting me all the time. I'm at work. I'm doing this fine show for everybody here.
I'm either doing a show or I'm fighting with the car dealer.
Yeah, I'm fighting with
Collision Place.
Collision Place. Trying to get this bad car out of my way as well. Robert does say, wonder if Paul was speaking his mind on the maintenance guys that Clippers have. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, you know, he wasn't. That's what I mean. He wasn't being a malcontent where he was like in the locker room and causing problems and causing dissension and stuff like that. But was he doing what he does and demanding more from guys? And the Clippers were like, we can't have that in this locker room.
Look at us. We suck.
You got to get out of here. Kawhi's like, they've allowed me. Look, I got this no play contract for a bunch of years, and they allow me to take 70 games off a year. What do you mean you want me to play more, Chris Paul? Chris Paul needs to go. I was thinking about this with this as well, just as a side blip. Like, we have a lot of ownership problems here. Like, I'm not sold on Ishbia. Ishbia is going to rebrand himself and show he's the guy we thought he was with these moves he's making now. Like, this team's on the uphill again with Matt Ishbia faith and stuff like that, But you can go back and look, and chalk it up to young owner. Like, even this fight with his business partners, it's just turning childish now, where he goes on Draymond Green's podcast to blast the co-owners who are mad at how much money he's spending and devaluing the amount of money. Like, they can't sell the franchise for as much because he's spending so much money, So I'd be upset too if I was a minority owner and the owner's just willy-nilly wasting money. Like, that's the whole point of it, right? And then he goes on Draymond Green and kind of blasts them like, they just don't want to win. They just care about money. Yeah, that's why you invest in things, Matt Ishbia. So he's rebounding himself here, right?
I would if you look at the ownership groups in the Phoenix area right now.
Michael Bidwell,
the guy from Colorado, Ken Kendrick, and
I was always told he had a cabin in Colorado. I read the other day his cabin's not in Colorado; it's someplace else. I don't know if that's true or not. I was always told.
That's why he's somewhere outside of Denver.
Yeah.
It's some gorgeous
in the mountains
place.
Yeah.
Or Ishbia. I believe Ishbia is going to be the one who comes out of this group smelling the best.
But is it just because he's perceived to just spend whatever money he wants to win, and the other guys aren't?
I think to me, it's a little bit like Kenny Dillingham at ASU, to where, I came in, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I take a step back and go, know what?
I agree with that.
I think I made some mistakes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and learn. I'm going to try and slow down a little bit and all that. Whereas, you got Bidwell who said, no, we've been doing this thing for 100 years this way. We suck. We make money, and I'll move on. I'll go to the Suns games before my game ends and go on from there.
We didn't say that on air. We didn't announce that on air.
Oh, we didn't?
No. But yeah, if you don't know, we have confirmation, eyes on it, and I would trust this source.
Yes.
At the Raw Room.
Yes.
I would trust him. He said Michael Bidwell, for that overtime game against Jacksonville,
right.
Michael Bidwell was in the Raw Room pretty much as the game was ending. For the Suns, he left the game early to go to the Raw Room, is what we've been told.
Because we went over it with this source, John Holmberg.
Yes. Blame John if this is wrong, but I trust John. John, why would John lie about
he
that?
has nothing to gain by
That's what
lying.
I mean. He wouldn't just be like, hey.
But the guy that John was with, he said he looked it up on the guys. The guy looked on his phone and said the game officially ended at like 5:21.
Yeah, because of the overtime.
Yes,
yeah.
And at 5:40, Michael was sitting down having dinner at the Suns Arena in the Raw Room. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe he flew his helicopter. Yeah, well, where's he going to land it?
Well, he's got to land it. He's
on top of a building?
Well, he's got to go to He's got to go to the Glendale Airport, fight that traffic to get there. And even if you have a police escort.
Well, maybe he took off from the Great Lawn.
Well, I would have seen it, Dale, because I sit in that parking lot. I did not see any helicopter take off from there. But yeah, you're right. And then he's got to go to Glen. Then you got to land at Sky Harbor.
Or even like someone said, some of those tall buildings might have a helicopter pad on
downtown.
top.
Yeah.
But you still got to take an elevator down. You got to walk to the arena.
I think it's now I tell you. That's how I get here in the morning. I helicopter in. It lands right on top of the Arizona Center Tower here, and that's how I get here in the morning now. So.
The thing being, he could not have gotten there. In
even
20
a police
minutes.
escort ain't getting you there in that time frame. Anything to that effect. Yeah. So there we go. We announced it. We kept that quiet. I don't know why we did. We should have blasted him, but yeah. Even Michael Bidwell wants to get to the Raw Room. Geez. But Coach Sheehan, by the way, 9:00. I know I've said that already, but we're having some fun today. So early here, but now it's time to get serious.
Uh-oh.
Time to get serious.
Where are we going?
Drew Penzing was asked yesterday
Oh,
if he was concerned that Todd Bowles said that they knew the plays coming up here, specifically on the 4th and 1. I left the question in here on this, and just listen to Drew Penzing's thought in this answer, just the time he put into it, just the concern on his face that his offense is so predictable. The other team knew it. Drew Penzing concerned if Todd Bowles and Tampa Bay knew their play call on 4th down.
Is that concerning to you when an opposing coach says that he kind of knew parts of what was coming on those plays?
No, not particularly.
Not a concern.
oh,
Dale.
that's did you go?
Not a concern, Dale.
Now, see, here's what I'm gonna say about that, Steve. I thought I had a little
concerned.
more time to get a drink. in
Yeah,
there.
no, sorry. No, I was being sarcastic. He is so not concerned. He just said not concerned and move on.
Because there's certain times, I've coached for a lot of years, and there's certain times, a play's called by your team, and you hear the opposing sidelines, watch the sweep, watch the sweep, watch the sweep.
Happens. There's that famous clip where somebody was calling out with Cam Newton and with the Panthers, and Cam Newton goes, "Oh, it's cute. You were watching film. Watch this," and then they ran something else.
Yes.
Like that. I get it. That's the defense's job to
Right.
find tendencies and all. I understand that, Dale.
And sometimes they're wrong, but
You set it up that way, and then you
yes,
have a different play call.
yeah, so that's called self-scouting.
I agree, yeah.
Hey, we run sweep left out of this overload formation to our left. Let's do a counter. Come back around and do some. But when you see not one, not two, but 3 guys point,
Yeah, and they all run to that spot.
point. And like number 8 was supposed to be over on the left side of the defense. All of a sudden he comes to the middle and then goes over to the right and runs straight to the point.
Yeah, runs to the point to make him come back inside where the other 2 guys pointing are like, this is exactly where this guy is going to run. That tells you that they practice that. Hey, when they do this, this is what we do to break it up. Because number 8 had total faith that when he cut back inside, his 2 guys would be standing there with him. Yeah, not a concern though, Dale. Not a concern. You should always be concerned when the opponent knows your moves before you do. Because that means you're telegraphing something. Think about it in baseball terms if you want to do that. They're sitting back on your fastball. They know something. I'm doing something that they know a fastball. They're waiting for the fastball to come. They know when it's coming. You should always be concerned when the opponent. Imagine you're in a battle and in a war and your opponent goes, "Guys, they're coming over here." Be concerned. Always be concerned. Unless you're Drew Penzing.
But when we started talking about this, there was one game in particular. I was offensive coordinator for about 3 or 4 years. And we had this counter play. And yet the other team kept yelling out, "Watch the reverse, watch the reverse." And so that meant all their guys were going outside when our counter is we're going to kick you out and cut off tackle.
Okay. So you cut inside on
Yes.
the counter. Okay.
And it's like they did it for about 3 quarters. Watch the sweep, watch it. And we were just 20 yards, 15 yards, 12 yards.
And that means they saw it on film. and
They
knew what
saw
was
it on
coming,
film,
yeah.
but they were calling out a wrong play.
Yeah, they thought you were going outside or whatever. Yeah. Well, I mean that's part of the gimmick in the game.
Yes.
But you should always be concerned. Always. That's like, that's like if I'm sitting here, I'll be honest with you. If I'm sitting here doing this and I just tune into another sports program in the morning, which I don't do very often, but if I do it and they have the same thoughts I do, I'm concerned. I'm driving in going, I got to rethink this. I must not be thinking right. You're always concerned when you work hard to do something, your job is to do that, and the other team knows about it. I'm sorry, you just have to be. Ridiculous. He goes on to say, he's asked for more interesting depth here as well. And basically, this question is this. The question's in there. It's hard to hear, though. But JG has called this league an open book test. And Todd Bowles said after the game, those 4th down looks, that they had recognized what you guys were doing. Is that something you have to live with? And how do you combat that when defensive film study is up to par? That's the question here to Drew Penzing. Drew Penzing on Todd Bowles saying that they knew the play was coming.
he's not gonna tell me exactly what he meant, unfortunately. So I'm not gonna get that from him. I got to go back and look and see if there's anything that I think they really took advantage of to try to negate that. Felt really good about the call. I thought we had some pretty good angles and good opportunities on both plays. Sometimes we got to make a play, and if it doesn't work, I didn't make the right call. I think that's always going to be the case.
Okay, we showed you guys the play on Monday repeatedly. Dale's been in an NFL locker room. Dale has studied endless hours of football film. Dale sees things that us laymen's don't see. Us radio people that claim they know ball, they've sat down with a coach one time, all say, oh, I know football. I understand this. I understand that. You guys sitting at home when we showed you that play and showed you what happened, we can all see they knew what was coming. And for him to say right there, I got to go back and look and see if there's anything that I think they really took advantage of to try to negate that. A guy like Drew Penzing, in the moment of the game, should have went, oh, they knew that play was coming. In the play, in the moment. And then he goes and looks at that stupid little iPad on the sideline, the Microsoft Surface thing, and goes, did they know that play? And he goes over there and he looks at it and scrolls back and goes forward and scrolls back and goes forward. Drew Penzing should have seen in the moment they knew what that play was for future play calls. And then you go, you know what? We're going to line up that way again. And this time, we're going to do this instead.
Well, Steve, it's called self-scouting. And you have scouts in your organization that document your plays.
Do they?
Your play calls. I'm just saying that's what organizations are normally run.
Typically you do.
Hey, 3rd and 10. This is a percentage of run pass. Yeah. This is the percentage of this. 3rd and 5. 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Yeah. Here are your percentages.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you a self-scout look of, whoa. So every time we line up with 3 guys over to the left, we run sweep.
It's so bad. Teo Mackey, reporter for the Cardinals, went back and looked at the 3 plays before the 3rd and 4th play, 4th down play. All runs to the left. All 3 before, then they shot deep, and then the 4th down play was a sweep out to the left. If a report, I'm not knocking Teo Mackey here. I get it, right? I'm not knocking him. But what I'm saying is if a reporter goes back and looks at the film and goes, you guys ran 3 plays at the same time. They know they're running 3 plays
now,
at the same time.
Sometimes, in their defense, just trying to make it out.
I get it.
Who's your best offensive lineman?
You want to run to the strong side. Paris Johnson.
Probably Paris Johnson, even though I don't think his season is as good as it's been in the past. But he's probably your best offensive lineman.
He's a guy you want to run behind.
So you're probably gonna if it's 50-50, you're probably gonna lean towards running towards him.
And I understand that. But I bet you we can break this out. I should go back. When I watch the all 20, I should sit down and watch the all 22 today.
Yeah.
And I'll chart left or right run, left or right run. And we'll see how many what the percent, because I guarantee you the Rams this weekend are doing that. They have somebody going, what's their tendency?
Oh yeah.
Their tendency is what? Left or right?
No doubt.
Okay, so they do run. I would run to the left on Paris Johnson also. But if they do it, let's say they do it 70% of the time. Your defense is going to know 70% of the runs are going to that side, folks.
To me, the more important thing is that formation they were in. They had 3 guys.
That's what Todd Bowles said. That
they had 3
recognized.
guys over there. Now, have they done anything with 3 guys on one side?
Well, that's what
ran to the other side.
That's what Todd Bowles flat out said.
Right.
Their alignment told them that was the play. It wasn't that alignment told us they were running left. That alignment told us that they were running the ball. It was we knew the play call because of that alignment.
Right. And that's where you got to go, well, let's run it.
Yes.
Let's run a counter to the other side.
I mean, a lot of times, you know this. You go up to the line and you're like, oh, my God, we're running off tackle here. And they got 3 guys sitting here and off. And then
check.
Or you still run it and you can get positive yards or something to that effect. But, yeah, you check out of it. You know, that happens all the time, I imagine, right, in a game. And we just don't know it. It's just – and then a sweep on 4th and 1, though, just drives me nuts. Guys are
Sweep
nuts.
and fullback dive on 4th and short. Just my blood boils like
Yeah.
I'm at the collision place with you.
It equates to having your left-handed quarter. Now in the pros, it's different. College is a little bit different, but running your left-handed quarterback or your right-handed quarterback left, and expecting him to throw down the field
Right.
in that moment at a high school, like it's rare quarterbacks can turn their bodies, set it straight, and launch that ball comfortably down the field at that point. It's just. No, this Drew Penzing nightmare needs to end, Dale. So then it goes on, and I didn't get all the videos here, but then he goes on to say, he said the no, not particularly part was the next part here. And then that seems like a pretty big element of the game in terms of getting the defense to not know what's coming. Why is that not a concern to you, hearing what you said? Because remember, he said, no, not particularly. It's not a concern. Here's his response. Again, I'm going to go back and look at the tape and look at what they did on defense. And if I feel exactly like he did, maybe we'll change something. Maybe we won't. I obviously can't give that away in here. I don't want the next coach to lock in on what we may or may not do. But there's always a number of looks we're going to give people and have different plays of those looks to make sure we're not predictable. Y'all predictable. You've been predictable for weeks. We know what's coming. We know what you're doing. I know it from Section 216. I damn well sure know the guy getting paid on the other sideline knows what's coming. What are we doing, Dale?
Oh.
And he's right. I don't expect him to be like, you guys are right. We became predictable when we line up in this formation. I don't expect him to do that. But I don't want to hear you say, no, not particularly. That's a concern. That is 100%. That's why you change your play calls every week, Dale. That's why you change snap counts in the middle of a game, in the middle of a drive. That's why you do that stuff. Why do you do that stuff, Dale? To make sure the opponent doesn't know what's coming. It's a chess game. Everybody's playing chess, and the Cardinals are playing
Tiddlywinks.
whatever.
Tiny
Underwater basket
checkers.
weaving or something. They're not on par with other coaching staffs, is my point. And that's what's disappointing them. And they continue to show it as well. How would you answer? Like, if you were sitting there as a player and your offensive head coach goes, yeah, I'm not concerned that they know what's coming. After you just did film study this week, you watched the game, you did your film study and everything, and you see it too, and then the offensive guy goes, I'm not concerned about them knowing it, guys. We're going to keep tracking ahead here.
Well, it depends on who I am. If I'm the tight end who missed my block, yeah, I'm putting it on me. Oh, by the way, did you hear that stuff yesterday?
Well, I was going to bring that up. Yeah. Well, finish your thought on this first. Are you talking about the trade stuff? Or are you talking about what stuff?
I was talking about the keep the coaches.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. No, we're going to talk about that again here. Yeah.
Did we talk about it yesterday?
We talked about it with Bruce. Bruce brought it up, and then I was like, what does that tell you, Bruce? And then you said the word that I was going to say. Yeah.
Oh.
But some other things were said yesterday that I'm
okay. And
interested
sometimes I don't know if we talk about it on the air or off the air.
Sometimes it's both, and we're still confused on what.
No, it could be very frustrating as a player. Number one, I'd look at myself. Did I get my block? If I got my block, then I start to wonder, well, why were there 4 defensive dudes flying?
Yeah.
Right to where we're running the ball.
Because you see linemen like Will Hernandez was famous for this, where if something happened in a play, he'd get mad at another lineman or somebody for missing a block or not doing something. Like, you guys have to be like, you're like, okay, I pull on this one, and my job's to get to the second level and block that linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're at the line of scrimmage, and there's 4 defensive guys there, and you're going, what the hell are these guys doing here? What went just horribly wrong right now?
Well, and remember, you're in your stance, and you're hearing them.
Yeah, that's true. They're yelling and going, what's to the right?
And that's when you're going, what the hell?
You're like, I better bring the extra hitting on this part because there's going to be guys standing there. I just don't, and Robert just chimed in as well, right? He said 4 times is a tendency. And I agree. Like, 4 play calls in a row to one side just seems excessive to me. And eventually,
Not, but to me, if you're gaining
Yeah.
7 yards, 8 yards,
Yeah.
6 yards, 10 yards,
but you're not. That's the problem. I agree with you on that. Go with what works.
right?
Like when teams complete long plays, I'm always like, do it again.
Yeah,
Even if it not complete, do it again because it just worked. Waste a play and just try it again.
make him stop you.
But when you're getting stuffed at the line every time, it's a
Yeah.
different situation, right? And it's just there's so many nuances to this because you're right. At the same time, you go, obviously the Cardinals might have seen something on film where that left side of the defense is where you attack.
right.
So that makes sense. But just and then he's like, I got to go back and watch a film. You've watched the film, sir. Did you not see that when you watched film on Sunday, on Monday, and Sunday night and Monday morning?
Where's that chip, Steve? Where's that chip in your car?
Dale's trying to get me fired up here. It's just infuriating, man.
Yeah.
Just 5 more weeks, and then Jonathan. I don't expect Jonathan Gannon to be like, oh yeah, our problem is our offense coordinator, whatever. But when the Raiders, like I said, just look around the league right now and just notice the differences. Is all I can tell you.
Oh yeah,
Raiders, who are terrible, when Chip Kelly ain't working out, buddy,
make a change.
made a change.
And
Is it going to get better for the Raiders? No.
Who
Their
knows?
offense is terrible.
Most likely not because some guys are not healthy
Yeah.
and they don't have a whole lot of talent.
And their offensive line is god awful.
Yeah.
Is it going to get better? Are they going to start winning 7 games? No. Texans made a change. All they did was they just changed defense coordinator. And look at them. They might be the best team in football right now, the Texans, quietly, over these last 5 weeks, right? And then the Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon. No changes are coming. I'm happy with the way this is going. I'm happy with that play call. You can say you're unhappy with the play call without knocking your offensive coordinator. You can say, you know what? We tried that in the, that's what's infuriating me. They did it in the Jacksonville game, 4th and 4, and they throw it deep. And then they go, we love that play call. And then in this game, 3rd and 1, they throw it deep, this time to Wilson, and it's incomplete. They obviously didn't learn their lesson. It's almost like they went, we loved it so much, we're going to keep doing it.
We're going to show you, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to show you guys that complained about this. We're going to run it again. And it's the lack. Show me where the coaching staff has improved as the season's gone on, no matter how bad it is. Show me the improvement as this bad season's been happening. If anything, they're doing at a minimum, they're doing the exact same thing they've done all year long that hasn't been working. And Jonathan Gannon keeps telling you, we're going to keep doing it the way we're doing it. We're going to keep doing it the way you're doing it. And it's not working. And if you're not willing to make changes, and I'm not saying even fire guys, right? I'm just saying change the M&Ms. Like, let us know you changed the M&Ms on the secretary's desk. You drove a different way into work this morning. At a minimum, like, just tell us that. Hey, guys, I took Steve McCollum's advice, and, instead of taking I-10 down to Warner, I drove the side streets. I drove through beautiful Guadalupe. Like, not willing to change anything. It's just status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo, and that's what's most frustrating. Then there's this other thing here. Well, first of all, let's get into that first. So we talked the other day, right? Darius Robinson came out and said, JG's not the problem. Coaching staff isn't the issue.
Second year, Darius Robinson, right? And he sat out last year, right?
Yes. Other guys are out there saying, defending this coaching staff. And you said the word that I was going to use, ironically enough, which was funny when Bruce brought it up yesterday. It's just they're complacent in that locker room. They even though they're losing, the players don't want a change to happen because they're like, Like I said, my famous example on this recently is the Raiders, right? I'm Max Crosby. I'm gonna request a trade, and I'm leaving if you guys don't hire, Antonio Pierce. And that was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear players in the locker room advocate for a coach in any sport, be worried. Be very worried. Because that means they are comfortable. They are comfortable. And a good head coach, now I know it's a different era, but I'm going to ask Dale a question about Jimmy Johnson here in a second, compared to like Dave Campo and that stuff. A coach should make it uncomfortable to a certain extent in the locker room, no matter who you are. And when you're just like, hey, a guy that was injured last year, been in and out of the lineup this year, Darius Robinson, if he's willing to go with no other experience in the NFL, and he goes, it's not the coaching staff, it's us as players. That worries me because a second-year guy is getting taught the mold of uncomfortability in the locker room isn't a thing here, and I'm cool with it. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I'm going to work harder myself, but we're going to go on. And that worries the heck out of me, Dale.
It's fascinating because I had a long conversation with a friend of mine who it's a single mom, talking about moving her kid from one school to another.
To play football? Or just in general?
For everything.
Okay, just in general. Okay.
Yeah, mostly academics
Okay.
and stuff like that. And one of the options is SCA.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a younger kid or an older kid who went there, didn't really like it.
Didn't like the private school setting. Yeah.
But now graduating from college, that's a great environment.
Yeah. Looks back at it.
It looks back at it,
Thinks
and that
it's good.
was the best thing for them. My daughters will tell you, we hated wearing uniforms.
Kendall's told me that, actually, yeah.
I hated wearing uniforms, but now they're in their 30s, and they go, we didn't have to get the newest jeans. We didn't have to get everybody
Well,
wore the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall told me that on that game I ran into her.
Yeah.
She was talking about her experience there, and she was like, back then I hated it.
Yes.
But she goes, but now it was the best thing that could have happened to us, yeah.
And so while you're going through it, and so a head coach, you look at Jimmy Johnson, but it was 4 or 5 years that I was there. Every day you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked.
But I mean, like, I'll even because I know you were close to Troy. That's why I'll ask you this. Normally, I wouldn't ask you somebody else's feeling. But I mean, Troy was safe, right?
Yes.
Once he was saying he was safe.
Yes.
But even then, like, I've heard you say, like, even Troy was like, damn that guy.
Oh no, there were things that Jimmy would do that would piss him off. Michael, the hardest working dude I've ever been around.
Yeah.
There are things, and as you're going through it, you're saying this sucks. But then you get to the end of the season, you're playing in the Super Bowl, and you're like, okay, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Rather than being complacent, comfortable,
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, compare that to like Dave Campo when he came into the Cowboys. And I'm going to stick with the Cowboys. I don't want to go to the Bills just because, different organization. Dave Campo comes in, and he's everybody's buddy, right?
Yes.
And everything like that.
Camps.
And, more casual environment in there. What happened in that locker room? Now, you guys were older, and I understand that those factors are in. But when Dion came on board and Dion went straight to the owners, you've talked about that before.
Yes.
It just the uncomfortability went away a little bit. I'm going to speak for you. Tell me if I'm wrong. Uncomfortability went away a little bit, which also led to
Complacency.
other issues, right?
Yes, and if you're ever comfortable in a locker room, I would say that you're going down the wrong path.
That's how I feel. And I don't know if I'm being harsh about this. Like, you can be a player's coach, but still expect the best out of your players.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I look like a guy like Mike Vrabel, who obviously the guys respect him.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that in the locker room, he will lay down the law at times.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
But then they also love playing for him.
Yeah, and so when I hear young guys come out and say, I really like this coach.
Yeah.
Well, why do you like him? Is it because he's pushing you beyond your limit?
Yeah.
Or is it because you feel pretty comfortable?
Yeah. And the fact that Darius Robinson said, I've got to get better, that tells me he's not being pushed to his limit.
Right.
It tells me he likes the situation in there. And this isn't a knock on Darius Robinson. This is me using him as an example from his comments on the locker room.
Right.
When he comes out and says, I've got to get better, I've got to look at film and get better. The coaching staff should be, I got to keep working with the coaching staff to get better. I've got to watch film with these coaching staffs to figure out what I'm doing wrong. It was, I need to do this to get better. I need to see where I can get better. I need to do this stuff. Where's the help in there? Where's the push from the coaching staff? You didn't hear that from them, the guys that were saying that. And that's my concern. Now, they might be, I don't know. We're not in there. But this is what you get when you look at this stuff from the outside looking in. compared to other side of things and stuff
Most
like that.
players, and so you're talking about Robinson the last 2 years, didn't play last year, sub 500 team. And then you look at this year, way sub 500 team.
The 3 wins. Come on.
And you say no, it's not the coaches. No, it's not all on the coaches.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some changes made. There's got to be expectations that need to rise.
Yeah.
And that means instead of showing up after your 9th loss, your 10th loss, you show up, things are just the same, things are comfortable, whatever. And that's what I've always told you, Steve, and I tell anybody. The one thing that Jimmy always did was that on every football team, I don't care if it was our best Dallas Cowboy team, our best Buffalo Bill team, who went to AC Championship. There's 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys who don't really care about winning.
Yeah.
They care about the paycheck. Am I going to be a Pro Bowler? Whatever their reasons are.
Name those guys. Just kidding.
But what Jimmy did so damn well was that he made it so miserable when we lost that even the guys that didn't care if we won or lost said, I don't want to be around here when we lose.
Yeah, it's literally this fine line of whatever, and the Cardinals are missing it in that locker room. I think it's kind of the argument here. But the other thing yesterday that told me, as we're at the top of the hour, that told me this coaching staff is not holding him accountable. And we don't know what happened. We're not in the locker room. We weren't at the film study. Nobody asked Trey McBride yesterday about Daryl Johnston ripping him on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And Trey McBride came out yesterday and said, hey, we're eliminated from the playoffs, but I'm going to paraphrase, we're lucky to be playing in the NFL, and I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to go on. And nobody asked him about a former Cowboy with Super Bowl rings in Dale's environment, Daryl Johnston, Moose, ripping him on the broadcast for missing his block. And he just went on and on and on about how he's not going to quit, how he's not going to do this, he's going to continue playing. And I have no doubt Trey McBride's going to.
Right.
But if the coaching, in my opinion, now this is just my opinion, folks, if the coaching staff did their job, Trey McBride, the first thing he's thinking about this morning when he wakes up is I had a heck of a game, but I missed that block. I got to get better at that block.
And see, in my mind, as an offensive lineman, that's really the only play you do remember.
That's what I'm getting at. And he was just like, I'm not quitting. I'm not going on. And it's like, all right. Did they emphasize he missed that block enough?
Right.
Does he realize he missed that block enough? Or was it just, hey, Trey had a bad play on that time? That's my concern with this locker room. And like I said, we're not in there. All I can do is be left to speculate with what everybody's saying in that locker room. I do have Rabel coming up because the way he handled the media yesterday, it's just masterclass, I thought. So we'll talk about that as well. But let's take our break. Coach Sheehan coming up next, folks. Come on back. It's the main event.
He's still coming on?
No, not big time in us yet. And we're back here. Main events. Second hour. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum. Then you got 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hellestrae here as well. Dale's got to leave at 9:25, folks. Back out in the golfing world here today as well. And, you know, if we're still going with Mike, we'll just get Dale out of here and continue on with Mike out there and everything. But look, 3-time state champion, 3 in a row. He did what the Cowboys and Dale could never do, folks.
No, I mean, very few. The Cowboys, the Chiefs,
yeah.
the Patriots couldn't even win 3 in a row.
Those are the 3, right?
Yeah.
That could in the NFL side of things.
San
Nobody's
Francisco.
done it in college or anything to that effect. But look, he's done it. Let's get him in here for a bird's eye view. And there he is. Stash is off. Robert's going to be upset. Fear the
It's
stash.
gone. It needed to go.
Started the hashtag Fear the Stash out there. Before we get into anything, and I ask you how you're doing, I have to ask this important question.
Okay.
Last year, you got a king version of yourself as a poster. You hung it up over your toilet. What'd you get this year?
No.
What do you have this year?
Nothing. Nothing. Just exhaustion. Just exhaustion. Literally nothing. But that was like for Christmas. But I think nothing. And I'm super happy about that. I don't need anything else. That's for sure.
What are you hanging above your toilet this year?
So I'm going to ask you, Mike, and then we can get into the game or wherever you want to take it. But was talking to my son-in-law, Alex, was talking to Brooke and Kendall, who were at the game, and all that. And I said, so are you telling me this state championship game was more dramatic than last year's state championship game, in which we won by 1 point? And they all, to a person, said this year's was more traumatic. Is that how you feel? Or is it just, after 3 years, it's like, my goodness, I'm just relieved?
I'd like relieved, yes. I'm to the point where it's like I still don't even know how to celebrate or do whatever. But I think that's a great question. Last year's was crazy, the double pass. And then we had to play defense for a minute. But having 4th and 4 with like 21 seconds left, and if they score, they win. Man, I think a goal line stand is a little, you know what? I don't know. I think it really depends. I think it's because of the timing of it. I think the goal line stand was 21 seconds left, but the double pass was 1:21. They're both ridiculous.
Yeah. And we had to go forward. Last year we had to pick up a 4th down and 1 or 2 going in.
Yes, like on the goal line too, right? And then, so man, the dramatics of both, I think, are pretty even. But I'm almost gonna, maybe because we're closer and more in the moment, but I think a 4th down stand with like no real time left, it's pretty close. But I think that like barely inches it, just barely. But man, it was like first down.
Even before that last drive that St. John's went on, right, and they drove down the field like you're talking about to get to that point where you had to stop them. Even Autumn looked at me and goes, I'm irrationally like nervous right now, like for this. She's like, I'm even a dog in this fight. And I'm like irrationally it was a different feeling. And I don't know if it was, because you guys were down last year at the same time, but it just maybe the way you guys went down 15-0 at the beginning, and then this isn't a knock on the parent, don't get me wrong, but even the crowd felt different this year in this game. Even when you won it, the celebration felt muted compared to the last couple years. And I don't know if it's...
I heard you...
Yeah,
I agree with that. And I'm going to give you, I think, why. And it was like... And I agree with that. And it was kind of... I want to say something's disappointing, but it's a little frustrating. So the AIA decided to do something different this year. So... did you notice that?
Yeah.
How we're all sitting there and it's cool. So they did like
it's MVP. Terrible. I'll say it for you. It's absolutely atrocious what the AIA did. No matter who won that game or it's the setup to that game, they ruined the whole environment and the vibe. There's no doubt about it. But how does that affect the parents?
That's not coming from
It's coming from me.
But
from me.
So Here's what I think, and I think they're what I like. I'm gonna give some kudos though, because they did some cool stuff about having the MVP and doing
Yeah.
that stuff. I think you need to let the team celebrate with the trophy first, and then take those MVPs and all
Yeah.
that stuff and do it a little bit separate, maybe a minute or two later, instead of having all the parents waiting for their kids that they've
Yeah,
been
it was
there all year
ridiculous.
and like waiting to give the trophy. Like, I'm not upset about it, but I think they're trying new stuff and it's always going to be ironed
Yeah.
out. But I think you need to give the team the trophy, let those dudes go celebrate.
I agree.
Let
Yeah.
those kids go with their parents, their friends, the
Well, even-
cheerleaders, all those
Yeah.
things, and then do the MVPs.
Because, yeah,
after
the
that,
cheerleaders
right?
were lined up for the players to run through them, and they got them for the picture and all that. So even the cheerleaders were like, are they going to come through to celebrate this or whatever? No, I agree with that and stuff. It just, but even during the game, it was a different vibe than it was the last couple of years. As we've been there for all three, and we, like I said, for the championship game, we sit there as fans, and stuff like that. And it just felt different overall this whole game. Going into, and it could be at the beginning where they moved you to the visitor side and did all that
Just a little,
stuff.
like, was the tension differently? I
It
felt like
was.
there was more tension
It was.
throughout the whole
When you guys
game.
went down 15-0, my first thought was when the
yes.
Bills, remember when the Bills came back from that big down, they were down by a lot and they came back.
Yeah,
And then wasn't it
Frank
like
Reich threw like 5
Yeah.
touchdowns. Like,
and
that
then
was
like
the NFC
another game they were down
championship,
by
or
a
NFC.
lot and then they were like,
Yep.
the tension, I remember hearing the tension was just different and they didn't come back in that one. That's kind of what I felt like
Yeah.
here was in the past, everybody was like, we can come back from this, no problem. And then in this game, it was kind of like, uh-oh. Well, it doesn't hurt that they
Yeah,
had one play on offense in the first quarter, and it was a 65-yard touchdown play. And you were down 15-0.
Well,
2 mistakes. Sorry, go ahead, Dale.
no,
Sorry, go ahead.
what I was going to say, because obviously I was not there, but the thing is, and you're starting to get a little feel of this, the fact that when you start winning championships, you win one, but that's going to be the best one ever. It's like your first kiss.
Yeah.
It's like that was,
Yeah,
and then you come back for the second one. It's like, oh, that's kind of relief. Now, again, last year, all the stuff that you went through as a coach, all that, and then now this year, it's like, well, we're expected to win, and if we don't, it's going to be disappointing. And some of the passion from the fans
That's a good way of putting it.
gets taken away because, like, well, no, if you don't win by 3 touchdowns, then well, what are we doing out here wasting our time?
Yeah, and I feel like this was, and I don't know, maybe because we're in the moment, it felt like the hardest year.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It felt like the hardest year, and I think you're right. It was all due to pressure.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't win, you're supposed to win. And honestly, dude, looking at the teams that we beat, we weren't supposed to do anything. Like Santan, Wilcox, St. John's, like, man, at any given night, either team can win those games. So we're not handed anything, but it did feel like it. Yes, right? Like, you're almost like you're expected to go win this thing. You're expected to be like this number 1 seed or whatever. We're not even the 1 seed, but like, you're expected to win, but you don't realize that was a miserable but awesome playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, that was a grind.
yes,
That was a grind.
Well, and I've told Steve before, by the time we got to our 3rd Super Bowl, you win a game 28-17. It's like, well, why didn't you score 30? Well, what's wrong with this? It's hard to win these football games.
Why'd you go down 15-0? Or why'd you, it's,
See, I might be different on that because I even going into that game was like, these guys, I think I said to Autumn, I go, they don't win these championship games like big. Like, this is going to be a close game, down to the wire. Because all 3 of them have been down to the wire in the championship to get it and stuff like that. Robert even says there was tension watching on TV as well because he tuned in on that as well.
I do. So. I love that these guys are on there watching that. I love that it was on TV. I love that. Here's a moment. I got to say this moment in the game, and you didn't even ask. But after we go down 15-0, and this is kind of the resiliency and the cool part about our boys, and I might get emotional, but it is what it is. But I got to tell a story. So we're down 15-0, right? Sean makes a mistake, throws a ball we don't want him to throw. We want him to take the money, give it to number 3 in the little boot and the little rollout. He throws backside, throws a pick. They run for a touchdown. all of a sudden, after we fumbled, another mistake, from the first quarter to second quarter, in between there, the boys, because we had the ball at that time, the boys in the huddle, like, just looked at me, and it was super cool. And this is when I was like, okay, we got a really good chance of winning this game. They're like, Coach, I'm having so much fun. Caleb Murphy looked me in the eyes, was like, holy wow, I am having fun. And then Cade McKee's like, dude, Coach, this is fun. Sean, like, was lit up with this big smile. He's like, man, I'm having fun. And I'm like, dude, we're down 15-0 right now.
You said I'm not having any fun.
I know.
By the way, it's 15-0 like 7 minutes into this game. We're not talking like this is halfway through the second quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And honestly, these guys are like, that's when I knew we had a really good chance of winning, and we had a really good group of young men, because down 15-0, there's a lot of dudes that would have been like, they got to the moment and there's this huge letdown and they just let themselves down. But all of a sudden they go back to having fun. Like, how are you having fun? But I'm glad you were, because it worked out, but it was just a super cool moment that I had to get out there. I don't even know if you didn't ask that, but I was like,
no, get it
so
out there.
Cool to see young men.
Well, it's going to be my question is what
cool.
was happening on the sideline, because I watch the sidelines closely when I'm at games and
Yeah.
see and I didn't see any tension from the play. I didn't see the happiness jumping around that you saw, that you've seen the last couple games when you guys were down. But I wouldn't say there was tension down there, but I don't think there was a calmness. I'll put it that way. Whether it was going to go one way or the other, so that was going to be kind of my question leading up to it. I mean, like you said, I mean, it was, I'll just say it's a disastrous first quarter for you guys. I mean, it couldn't have gone any worse. Overall, your offense moved the ball, but then fumble, right? So your first two drives were interception, fumble. Their first only play was a 64-yard touchdown and stuff like that. Like, those are fixable things in a game. Was that what was your attitude as a coaching staff talking to these young kids who, quite frankly, made two mistakes on drives and then a defensive mistake and ran untouched? And what's your attitude on that? Is, guys, the three things we did are fixable, so let's fix them and we're back in this game? Or what was the attitude there?
It honestly was like, hey, calm down, relax. Like, obviously it's a big moment. Take the momentum back, because we talk about it being a game with such momentum, right? So we gave them momentum, and then we gave them more momentum. So it's our job, and it's hard, especially when you're down 15-0, is we kind of talk to players, talk to staff, like, hey, we got to slowly whittle away at this. You got to hit some runs. We got to hit some underpasses. We have to be able to kind of drive down. We instead of blitzing a lot on defense, we kind of went vanilla and just lined up and played football, which was beneficial. We didn't blitz ourselves out of anything or give up any huge gaps. So I think what we did is we just literally simplified everything, went back to what our game plan was, which is hard when you're down 15-0. Sometimes it's hard to get back into your game plan as a coach. But what we did is, like, Ty, obviously, hey, all right, he buckles down. Hey, we got to keep the run game going. Let's hit some crossing routes, which we've never done all year. We put those in this week. Let's hit some crossing routes. Let's throw the underneath stuff. They're giving us between 6 and 8 yard passes. Let's take those. They're worried about us taking the top off. Let's take the money, move down the field, methodically really tire these guys out too, because we had more guys than they were. So, like, we have a little bit more depth, so we can kind of get guys in on offense and defense. But I don't even know if this answers your question, but I think it was a calmness and just stay true to the course, which is hard to do. It is hard to do.
It's really hard to do, and it's so fascinating because broadcasting games, being a part of games, the fact that it seems like every offensive coordinator / head coach has that point where they abandon everything. Is it 15 points? Is it 21 points? Mm-hmm. What is that to where you just throw all caution to the wind? But at the end of the day, if it's 15-0, if you drive the ball down the field and now it's 15-7, you're right back in the game. But that's not the way you're thinking a lot of times in that moment.
You can't score two touchdowns at once, but you get in that mind frame of, like, I got to score now. So it is hard, and I think. And this is where I'll go back to that ALA game. That is exactly where we learned, okay, dude, we can't chase points. Not everything's a home run. Get the run game going. Trust this stuff. Like, if we would have probably had the same game plan going into ALA, like, we might have walked out of that. I'm not going to say we did. They beat us. I'm taking nothing away from that LA game. But if we would have probably played similar game plan as we prepared for this week, this past week, I think it would have probably been different if we would have stayed true to the course and not try to make the big plays. But in that game, we had made 2 big plays early. So it's kind of a mind frame of like, oh, we can do this. And then you start chasing it and you lose more. You go into a trap, we didn't do it this time, which was, there's maturity as coaching and game planning and all that stuff throughout the season. Man, that ALA game was awesome for us. Awesome.
Looking back, before we go any further, Steve's got a question for you. Would you trade the state championship for a Chicago Bears Super Bowl appearance?
No way.
Come on. Number 1 seed?
Well, they're getting there anyway. I don't need to trade it. You know what I mean? So, no, dude, I wouldn't trade anything outside of this group for anything. I love the Bears, but no way I would ever give up anything like this. Because, it's funny, Dale, and you always say, like, I never say we about the Bears anymore. I like the Bears, but I'm not on the team. Right? You know what I mean? When people say, hey, like we.
Yeah.
What do we do?
We need to do this better, yeah.
Right?
Are you going to be able to? Are you going to be able to enjoy the Bears games more now that your season's over? You sit down and do it.
Yes. Like I'll be able to like. Honestly, I watch the games. I do that stuff. I'll go back and watch them again. But it's kind of like I got a lot of other things running through my head. Worried about this. Worried about that. We've already had our banquet. We had our banquet Monday night, so we are done. We are done.
You still got equipment. You still got equipment, don't you?
Monday, I almost forgot. I'm like, you got to turn
just
it.
Keep
like,
it.
That's my least favorite part of it.
You got $150,000 scoreboard. Just tell the kids to keep their equipment.
Just keep it. Yeah. Here you go. Keep it. Take it home. Yeah. Oh man.
I do want a helmet for the set though. Like we gotta arrange. I think
we'll have an extra one so we can do that.
I'll pay for it. Don't get me wrong. I'll pay. I'm not asking for anything for
honestly,
free.
I can give you one because like when we cycle through them, a lot of times you have to throw them away anyway.
Yeah,
so if we have one that we can cycle through, we'll keep.
Yeah, I want the most damaged one, by the way. Like 69's helmet. I want 69's helmet. That kid's a beast.
I don't know if that's the most damage. He's like, that was a little bit. He played a little high. Maybe Abe.
Sorry.
Maybe
I look at that. I give him credit, and you're knocking him down. That's a coach's move right there, Dale.
Hey, listen, he's a senior. I love him.
Yeah. And, he's so much fun to watch. Even Autumn was like, he's so much fun to watch him run into the game and line up and play. And we saw him after.
Tear his shirt off.
Yeah. So that's the funny thing. So after he leaves the field and goes and sees his family or whatever, and he comes back to go back on, he doesn't have his jersey on. He's got his undershirt on, and it's like this sleeveless thing that just looks like he ripped the sleeves off. And I was just like, that's the man right there. That's just a defensive lineman.
Who's 69?
He didn't wear. It's Larky, Landon Larky.
Oh.
He didn't wear a shirt all year. Like every practice,
it was ratty, man.
He's shirtless.
It was ratty.
Like, what do we? But he never had one on in practice. I'm like, dude, what do we? It just became normal, and there's like kids around him, and I'm like, what are we doing right now?
It was so fun.
Whatever.
It was so great, man. But I do have a coaching question for you because I asked Paul Clark after the game something. I'll bring that up in a minute. But you score your second touchdown, make it obviously 15-13 in the second quarter. Why'd you go for 2? Give us the thought process on that.
I honestly here's my thought process. If we're even with them, they're so on their heels because they're worried about our offense, right? So I felt like it was a bad decision. You know what? I was actually I text our coaching staff the other day. Holly and I were walking to Fry's just to get a little walk in, and freaking A, dude. The first thing she says, she's like, "Why'd you go for 2? Why'd you go for? You should have never gone for 2. Like, I don't understand why you went for 2." And I'm like, dude, I don't need it from the person I'm just trying to walk the fries with. Like, gosh,
she might have heard me in the stands. I go, listen, too early to chase points. Too early to chase points.
I know. I kind of pride myself on being a little bit more conservative, and I wasn't conservative right there. That's why I did take a timeout to decide. I told Ty I don't necessarily like the play call. I think it would have been okay with it if we would have done a little bit something else. I don't like that we spread out because they blitzed and we didn't have as much room. And I told him listen, he called a phenomenal game. So I'm just talking about the 1-2 point play. I probably should have kicked it. 15, 14, especially later on. That's what Holly reminded me of. She's like, it was,
Yes.
you're only 6 points over. I'm like, I know,
Yes.
dude. Like, I
That's
got it
that's
now.
the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wholeheartedly think, it was in the moment I thought I was making the right decision by trying to tie it up and putting pressure on them, but obviously it
But
didn't work.
by the way,
out,
your
and,
wife texted me all that stuff that I have to ask.
I
you,
say, I
so.
guarantee she did. She's like, yeah, hey,
Yeah.
ask this
It
idiot
just-
about this. Why do you go for 2?
Yeah, as just a fan of football, and I watch a lot of football, and I'm always asking those questions. So I get to ask you now what the thought, because I think you guys scoring that second touchdown, kicking that extra point. Yeah, you're down by 1 technically still, right? But I mean, you had already put the pressure on them. Tying the game wasn't going to put
I
extra
agree.
pressure on them.
I thought it was
you know?
like, hey, it's a state championship game. I want the points.
Let's do
and
it.
Obviously, it didn't work out that well. Yeah. Yep.
The other thing I got for you is end of the game. You know, if you got people don't know, you guys scored. You kicked off to them. They drove down the field. I'm going to say easy. It might not be a right category, but they were hitting some big plays there. Down the side, I talked to Paul Clark, your defensive coordinator, afterwards, and I asked him, which I generally don't ask in public or publicize this, but I liked his answer, and I feel like it needs to get out there for football fans. You know, I said, did you go into a prevent defense? Did you go into a lackadaisical defense? And he said, and I won't out him, but he said there were some personnel issues, meaning, somebody was dealing with a finger issue, and backups were in there when he wouldn't like them in there, stuff to that effect. It's not a knock on them, but change that defense up a little bit and things like that. So it's not always when you're watching a game and you see that happen where you go, oh, they're playing a prevent defense to not do this. There's other contributing factors. But I mean, even though they drove down that field with those big plays and everything, with those big dudes, I mean, they had some big dudes on that team.
Oh, dude, 1, 3, 4, 70,
77.
big, man.
77 knocked down a pass, Dale, by just standing there. Like, Sean was trying to shot put it over him.
He just put but he's 6'6", so that means he was like at 7'4", like just bad.
He literally was just standing there and goes and knocked the ball down.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had some big dudes that are hard to stop. But I mean, just how proud of you of that defense and that. I mean, you guys, third game in a row where you guys had third game in a row in the playoffs. You guys had a defensive stand, at least 2. Into that, how proud of you of that defense to buckle down there on the 4-yard line on 4th and 4 to stop it after they had just easily gone down the field.
Amazing. Like, honestly, just like that's the resiliency part of them. That's them. And then that's actually them knowing what their jobs are in every single play. And it's also one of those things when you put, I think we're a pretty good defense. Obviously we won, right? So we're a pretty good defense. But when you put the defense where it's got another barrier behind them and it's got a little bit more defense and the field's not as there's not as much depth, I think it becomes hard with our team speed as far as like they might have a couple bigger kids, but our team speed might have been faster. So I think we can cover more space faster. And then we've got the back of the end zone to help us out and give us a cutoff back there. So I think they just had confidence in themselves against Wilcox stopping the run. They did it against obviously Santan, and they did it against these guys. So I feel like being in those moments and those pressure type moments with their backs against the wall, they knew that they could be successful. So they had the confidence to play and they didn't make those bad mistakes. Everybody did their job on that last play. London Olson's playing defensive end. They roll out to his side. He does a great job of making the guy run further. Like he can't press the line of scrimmage. He's got a bubble around backer. Then 77 plants him into the ground. But then Joey Casasilla had the flats. Corner had the wide receiver bracketed. We had the linebackers taking the over routes and the crossing routes. And Joey was free to just be an athlete. And he went out there. And he's one of those kids where you love him and you frustrate him with him sometimes, but he's one of our best open field tacklers. You get him out in space, he grabs that kid, literally just throws him down. No technique in the tackle, just grabs him, throws him down. They're just with their backs against the wall, they're super smart kids. And Joey is I think he's a 4.4 kid. You would never know it, right, Dale? You would never know it. I love him to death, but you'd never know he's a 4.4 kid. But
and that's not and that's not a 40 time. That's a GPA.
No, that's literally a GPA. It's he just buckled down, and they're smart kids. They listen to coaching, do their jobs, and they're athletic enough and smart enough to finish plays. And it was fun to watch. Man, it's 3 straight games of defensive stops at the end of a game to win.
I mean, it's amazing. Dale's got to take off, so can you stick around for after the break, and you and I'll keep going?
Absolutely.
Dale, what you got last?
Before I leave, give me who your award winners were At the banquet, offense, defense, Christian character, and most valuable.
Okay, so offense was Everett Salazar. Defense was Martin Perez. The coaches award was Sammy Watkins, the center. The Christian Character Award was Abe Ortega. Then I came up with a new one this year that I call it like the Grit Award, the kid that like works the hardest through everything, overcomes everything, and that's Caleb Murphy. He had pins out on one day, played that night, broken hand and all. And then the overall player of the year was Sean.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb
So
Murphy
pretty-
playing
like,
with
that's
that
a-
cast
that's-
was kind of amazing to watch this year. Watching him try to
It's
catch
crazy,
balls, and
right?
he's a
And
receiver.
he had 5 catches. He had an interception. The kid is kid's awesome. But
All
yeah,
right.
Sammy got something. Abe got something. Everybody did.
Let's take a break here, Mike. You and I will come back here and wrap up the season here. Dale, go play some golf.
I'm
would
going to
you?
go play some golf. It's a gorgeous day out there.
Enjoy. I was wondering, you're looking all fresh.
That's
today.
why.
Nike
Oh,
shirt on.
Mike, he shows up in a polo. I see him walking down the hallway, and I go, oh, he's golfing today. Time to leave early.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dale. Appreciate it, man.
All right, Mike, hang on here. Everybody else, we'll be right back with, of course, 3-time in a row champion, Mike Sheehan. Come on back, folks. And we're back here, main event with 3-time champion Mike Sheehan here, head coach of Scottsdale Christian Academy out there as well. I jokingly said after you won it and you did your little, celebration to the crowd, like 3. I went, oh, he's going to be insufferable.
Oh, I'm not, though. I'm not.
It was a
I'm
joke,
not.
obviously. I was kidding around,
I
but
know.
yeah, just going back to the end of it, just the way they handle it. Then the way the parents have to wait for the kids, and then the 3A kids are walking through. They're as big as I am. I'm staring up at
Big
those
kids,
guys
right?
walking by me, and I'm just like, these are 3A kids here. I'm 6'2",
They
and I'm
have,
looking up
like,
to them.
Double R enrollment. Most of the 3A schools are all double R enrollment. That's why they're big kids.
Round Valley's small though, isn't it, or whatever they're
Yeah,
called?
they kind of got moved up. They're just good, dude.
That's
I
what
mean,
I
they're
mean.
right next to St. John's. Look at the amount of kids in one little area that you
I
can
know,
get
isn't that
to play
amazing
football.
for
That's
all
pretty-
those schools?
Plus, you got Snowflake up there and all that stuff. There's some dudes.
I got an argument with our buddies on Twitter, your favorite people out there and everything. And everything after the game, we were sitting at Texas Roadhouse, and I had enough of their shenanigans, and stuff to that effect about how you don't deserve, you're too good, whatever. And my point to them was 2A is good right now. I talked to you about this. I mean, not just your ascent here to get to the championship game, but you look on the other side of the bracket that St. John's had to go through to get there as
Yes.
well. I mean, it started in the semifinals this year, whereas the last couple years, I'm not saying the competition wasn't great. Like last year, you guys beat Santan to make the championship game. They had those 2 D1 kids. They were but it started early this year in the playoffs, where you saw that with Tanque Verde getting knocked off, right, and number 1 seed at that time. 2A is getting developed, and instead of moving these schools up, 2A is getting better right now with their talent and built up, the coaching staff, the standards changing. Let these guys battle it out and go at it. Like you said, I'll just tell you right now. I mean, you've made it through these games this year, right? You made it through some of the games last year. That eventually is going to end. And Santan, who's going to be a good team next year. St. John's
Oh, they're
was a
nasty.
formidable
Yes,
foe. Wilcox.
has those kids
Yeah.
back. Yes.
It's not like you're going through and they're acting like everybody acts like you're, and I guess it's the byproduct of winning. Everybody's acting like, oh, Santan won 3 in a row. They did it easily. They need to be 3A and learn to play some competition. You have competition. You were in some battles here. I'll give
dude,
Santan
honestly,
and Wilcox and St. John's all the credit in the world. They could have won those games, and stuff to that effect. And I just don't get that attitude. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on, is it just a byproduct of winning, or because I know you're seeing 2A getting tougher.
Is.
So
Listen, like what have we had won before these last 3 years?
yeah,
Like it's not like we've been some juggernaut that's been absolutely rolling everybody for the last 10 years. I think it's just one of those things is with success brings criticism, and with criticism comes dumb opinions,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
It's
I was going
we're
round and
gonna
round
be
and round
up in-
about him. Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna be up in 3A eventually, and it's when the numbers say so. They go off years past, and honestly, it's not like this program, and I love where it's at right now, but it's not like it was this juggernaut that everybody was worried about playing SCA even 4 or 5 years ago. Like
Yeah.
nobody's. I mean, Pima beat SCA the year before I got there, like 54-6.
Yeah. Oh, Morency.
And
I mean,
like,
famously, Dale talks about
yeah,
that in that
Morency,
semifinal
70,
game.
like,
yeah.
and these are great young men. I think we just need to open some stuff. All we've done is grown a program that had an opportunity into something that it can become. And people don't necessarily like that. And they don't like when people win. And they just got to deal with it,
Yeah.
right? They have to deal with it. We're doing it the right way. We have great young men, great coaches, great administration. They're going to have opinions just to have opinions. And honestly, football this year, man, you're right. Like, think about the teams that were in 2A this year that were playing those final 8. ALA, nasty, smoked us, right? You got Veritas, you got Tank Verde, you got St. John's, Wilcox, Santan, like all these teams on any given, you roll that tournament, you shake that tournament and roll it out again.
Absolutely.
There's a good chance we're not winning. There was so many like good teams in that tournament. We had to battle our way through it. And it's not like people have these opinions. And if we're beating everybody to 60-7 in the playoffs, please have that opinion.
I would actually be on board
right.
with that. I'd be like, all right, you guys are at a level you don't need to
I'd
be
be
at.
like,
Yeah,
man,
I agree
what
with
are
you
we
on
doing
that.
here?
Yeah.
But I know my kids. I know the rosters of other schools. I know the talent across the entire division. There's tons of talent, right? There's players that are better in this thing than we have than on our team, right? So it's not like we have like all these best players. We've got really good players, so we've got all the talent needed to win, obviously. But man, it was a juggernaut. But people that say that they want to have opinions. They want to throw it
Well,
out
of
there.
course,
But
everybody's got them,
honestly,
right? No, just curious on
Yeah,
your perspective on that, because like I said, I'm actually looking forward to seeing next year's battling it out, right? Santan has a lot of young sophomores on that team.
Yeah.
I saw the size of those guys and the speed of those guys. They're just going to get better, right? Wilcox, I don't remember specifically on them. I know they had some young kids there, right? And the rural schools probably take a little bit longer to rebuild when they get senior, but you got a lot of seniors on this team, right? And Robert, and I was going to ask this question, but Robert wants to know, I know some of the kids have offers and stuff, and it's a little different at 2A than it is at 6A level. Now, like today's, NCAA, day to pick
National
your
Signing
school.
Day.
Exactly. So, I mean, do you know of any of your kids that are moving on? If they know where they're going to, how many kids are being looked at?
They haven't really that's a great question. And this is actually something I'm extremely proud of. Our kids live in the moment and they like to get the offers and they like the recognition. But you know what? Once they get it, they don't talk about it. They'll decide later on. They've got another chance to kind of sign in a later period. But I think they were so bought into the team atmosphere and being part of the program that they haven't even really had a chance to explore. Now they'll go check out the campuses. Now they'll do those things and they'll kind of sign probably a little bit later in the process, a little bit the later date. I think there's a January something. If they decide to play, I think one of the biggest compliments that Caleb Randall said last year, Pipsqueak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he had an opportunity to go play college football. In college football, going to play is an amazing thing. Getting the opportunity is an amazing thing. But it is probably one of the biggest, hardest, longest, most difficult things you'll ever do in your life. And these kids, when they start to understand that and they learn that, they have to really question it. But Caleb said, and I think we talked about it on the show, the most adult thing he's ever said, because there's not tons, because I love him, but it's Caleb. He, you know what he told me? He came up to me and he's like, "Hey, everybody wants me to play football. His parents want to play football, all those things." And like, obviously, I wanted to play football because I thought he was so talented. But he said, "Coach," he goes, "I don't know if I could ever top this year. I don't know if I could ever do anything that's so special. I don't know if it could ever finish the way like this it is." And I feel like these kids, we talk about championships and we talk about experiences. And I feel like the experience you can get at playing football at SCA is more important than holding up a trophy. It's about playing with your brothers. It's about doing the things. It's about learning to play the game the right way. Listen to your coaches, grow to be men. I'm on a little tangent right now. Sorry.
No,
Steve.
keep going.
But I just think it's so special that they have the opportunities, but they're so in the moment right now, and they're celebrating their teammates and what they've accomplished and staying in the moment. So I think they'll get to those points, and it'll be cool to see what they decide, and I'll help them in any way I can, as I always do. But I think they're so in the moment right now, they don't even care about that stuff. And as a coach, that's a huge blessing to get so many young men that most people, all they care about, their Instagram likes, their Twitter likes, who
Yeah.
their offers are from.
Yes.
These boys have a little bit of that in them, but they're so humbled that they care about the bigger picture more than anything else. And I think that's where they're at. So that's the long answer to that.
Yeah,
which
no,
I'm
I mean,
proud of.
and you can kind of see it with your team as well, to be honest with you. And, you know, like I said, I didn't, you know, go to every Santan game. I obviously didn't see Wilcox at all in person until I played you or whatever. But I'm just going to say, like, there's a distinguishable difference between, and it's probably going to sound like I'm being negative here, but which, shocker, it's me. But, you know, there's a difference. Like the 6A kids buy into those programs, but they always have that eye someplace else. And even at this
Yes,
2A level,
yes.
like everybody's just in that moment and, you know, at this level, part of it might be, you know, they're not going to get those big offers to Alabama. And I can understand, like in Alabama's or Georgia's calling your name, you're going to pay, obviously,
Yeah.
paying attention to it. But I noticed that. And then I was thinking about, you know, you brought up Caleb Murphy, you know, number 8 on your team. You know, people might not know, he played with a giant cast on his hand, and he's a wide
Yes.
receiver. He gets interceptions. He dropped one in the game, and I remember distinctly. He looked at his arm and was like,
He just
"Dang you, cast!"
he like plays like he punched it. He was so mad at
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
like he plays a position where, you know, he's got to catch the ball with his body. He got a couple knocked out earlier this year because of that cast. We had to catch with his body, and I mean, how many kids would go through that, fight through that to do that and stuff like that for your team? So it's quite impressive, and I see it all throughout the 2A level. If I give it on that side, where, you know, even some of these teams that weren't good this year, you just saw that fight, you know, from that perspective. But my last question for you in terms of this championship game is, you know, number 1, obviously, for St. John's was a beast. Tall dude, 65 yards untouched right on the first. I kind of giggle when I think about watching him run and your guys trying to catch him is just like every like parody on the planet, you know, this 6'5"
Dude, he can
guy.
fly,
And
too.
your
He's
guys
big.
like behind him, like arms just flailing, trying to
Yes.
catch him. You know,
Yes.
it's just that. But you got him you got to worry about, 77 on that offensive and defensive line. I don't know how tall you said he was, but I was like, that guy's taller than I am out there.
6'6". He's huge.
And he's a force to deal with out there.
Yep.
You know, going into games like that with just a size disadvantage, and he ran into that with Pima last year with their 2 studs that they had on their team. It just, is there fear when you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids? I'm going to use the word fear. That's probably not a word. But how do you get these kids in the mindset to go up against that size of people, knowing that they're just going to have to hit them? They're going to have to be the guys to stop them, you know, whether it be blocking or the running back on that side. Take us into the mindset of a 16, 17-year-old kid and dealing with that size difference.
Well, honestly, I'll tell you what we do, and I don't know if it works. So as coaches, we don't talk about them. we don't build them up.
Okay.
Right. Even if the kid, like if number one,
Yeah.
we
But
know
Mike,
there's
you
an
notice
essence,
them.
right?
That's the
Everybody
problem. If you're watching
Yes,
film,
right?
you
But-
notice them.
But I think if you hear from the coaches and be like, hey, that number one, he's a dude and he's gonna come do this or he can do this, and here's his stats and here's all this stuff. I think you create a certain like
Okay.
I
That
hate
makes
to
sense.
say this because the kids love this word, like an aura about that individual. If you can just talk about their team in general, take away their big players and don't create any fear of playing that guy. I think maybe that's what we tried.
Yeah.
Obviously we'll say, hey, this kid's pretty good. 77's a big kid. He's really 77's a good football player. But like going into it, be like, hey, this is what he doesn't do well. We don't say what he does well
Yeah, exactly.
because there's a lot. We're not like, hey, this is what this dude does well. And if he does it to you, you're in big trouble. Well, that's the truth. But we're not going to go into a meeting saying that.
Yeah.
We're going to be like, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to take advantage. Oh, excuse me. We're going to take advantage and be like, hey, this is what he doesn't necessarily do well. So let's try to exploit that, but we're not going to talk about what he does
Okay,
well
yeah.
and try to put
I
them
just
in a bad spot.
because I mean, like, I'm 48 years old, and like, I'll go against, I'll go out there right now and block a big guy and see what I can do. But looking back at like 16, 17, it's like, all right, that could be, that could be a little bit intimidating if you're watching the film and seeing him just dominate kids and stuff. I'll put it this way for people that don't know what we're talking about. If you watch the Cardinals Buccaneers game, that one play where Paris Johnson is a lineman, swallowed up the defensive back of the Tampa Bay and just swallowed the guy up, and the guy just went down. 77 was that big for the most part against most of your kids out there, and tons of talent. I mean, it shocks me that St. John's gets a kid that size and and get him to play and get him out there. It's fantastic to watch him do that stuff.
So let's say this. I'm gonna. That's a great segue to something that I want to get off my chest too. Everybody talks about rural and private and school, and we should be moving up, right? When you're in a rural school, you got nowhere to go. You can get an absolute dude. You could get an MLB type player, an NFL type player, anything like that. They're going nowhere else other than that school of the town that they're in. Number 1, number 3, number 4, number 77, number 10, all those kids are dudes on St. John's.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
When you got a school in the middle of Scottsdale, when you're surrounded by Pinnacle, Saguaro, Chaparral, Desert Mountain,
down the
NDP,
literally a
Brophy,
stone's throw away, yeah.
right? So everybody always talks about like we don't do any recruiting. I remember an idiot.
Yeah, they still claim you're recruiting.
Yeah, how many transfers we have?
Yeah.
Look it up, dude. Sean Helgeson went to middle. He was in kindergarten at SCA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Caleb Murphy, he was in kindergarten at SCA. Dom Dickerson, kindergarten. Kyle Olofsson, kindergarten. Like that's what it is. But like we're just doing a good job of keeping our kids at the school instead of going to the other schools anymore. That's maybe the difference now. But it's not like these kids are coming in. We're just winning creates an attitude that people want to be around, and we're keeping the kids at the school instead of going to the Brophies, the Notre Dames, the Pinnacles, the somewhere. Like they all have those opportunities. We still lose a lot of kids to that. If our middle school team stayed intact all the time, we would be nasty, but they go everywhere else. And that's what I'm saying between the rurals and the privates. That's the difference between us and them that nobody ever comes into account. Like our kids leave.
Well, I don't think
Their kids
people.
have nowhere to go.
I mean, I was looking separately. I was looking at your admission standards and the cost to go to your school. Like, you guys don't give football scholarships like Brophy can do
None,
and stuff
dude.
like that. You know,
I wish there was some kind of deal that I could be like, hey, this kid really needs some help. There's not. They're literally, and it's purposeful. It is purposeful. There is not that opportunity. There's not that opportunity. It's not like they're like, oh, this kid plays football, let's scholarship him. Man, there's none of that. And that's what's beautiful about it. Like, I feel like we try to do everything the right way. And if you can be successful that way, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's it's kind of like when Stanford, right, sticks their head up every once in a while, and it's like they're doing it with athletes that go there for that specific reason and stuff. But hey, man, I don't know what else to say to you other than what are you going to do for the repeat, man? How disappointing are you going to be next year? You're not getting that four-peat.
Dude, I just like, well, first of all, before we finish, thank you for like having me on and giving everybody a voice, because honestly, like obviously SCA gets the voice more than everybody, but I think
but really quick, I got to stop you there because you just said that.
Yeah.
It's not we've given them people opportunities. They've chosen not to take advantage of it, and
right,
it's their
right.
fault.
Yeah, and I think,
If they don't want to take advantage of it and get a promotion, we offered to do a 2A, 3A show this year, separate of this,
Yeah.
and we couldn't get people invested in it. Maybe we didn't set it up right or do whatever. But I want to be clear on that here for everybody out there,
That's fair.
and everything. And you were nice enough. I'll finish up and I'll let you finish. But you were nice enough to include us into this program and go along the journey with you. And it just so I know I take a lot of credit for it. And I know Autumn takes a lot of credit for it. 3-0 since we've been involved in following your program
absolutely.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When it ends, we're gonna forget like we even know you. But that's another story.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, no, you and I, we came to this agreement and you honored it, and I can't appreciate you enough on this. And it just so happens, championship or not, this is a good thing
It's
to have for
crazy.
your
It is
program
crazy,
and grow
like,
it, right?
Yeah. It's just awesome. And I think because at the end of the day, obviously it's about these kids, it's growing programs, it's getting stuff out there, just talking about football. I think the innocence of it all, people take it so serious. There's innocence to it all.
They do.
And it's just more about good things opposed to bad. And there's so much good football out there in the state. There's so many good kids, communities, all that stuff. And as one guy put on Twitter the other day, he's like them, or hate them. It's pretty special what we've done. And you can like us or hate us. We're not going to change. We're always going to be the good dudes and do it the right way. I'm going to come on this show and try to do it the right way and have my opinions about stuff. And you are, but it's awesome. That's what life's about. And it's I feel like more people should do this for their programs and do this stuff because they're right now, SCA, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, everybody kind of heard, oh yeah, there's SCA. But dude, I feel like we're pretty on the map now.
Oh no, you're on the map. I'm going to tell you right now. We get asked about your program when we're at a 6A game. People will ask us, "How do you know these guys? How did you get involved with them?" Stuff to that effect. You're out there. Your name, you are out there, and you know what I'm talking about.
Dude, which is crazy because the dang thing on the Twitter a couple weeks ago and all
that
that
was Richard.
stuff,
Yeah, Richard threw you under the bus.
Dude,
on
I'm
that.
so happy where I'm at. I'm so blessed. I love this place. There's nowhere I'd rather be. And I think when someone loves a place as much and loves the boys and loves all those things, it's it's second nature and it's easy. And winning is a byproduct. I'm not trying to. Half the time, it's not even about football. It's about growing some men. And if you can do it the right way, you can be successful and it's cool. So thanks for promoting our story and hearing about our boys and getting our boys' names out there. It's awesome, man. I really
it's been our pleasure. I know Dale, has a relationship with you guys in SCA for a long time and stuff. But as the outsider in this process, man, I'm glad you chose to do this as well. Because I mean, it's you. I'm going to say you guys do it differently than what I've seen other places, which is a good story to put out there. So I'm glad it's just worked out that way. Because a lot of times when you do this, you get people where you're just you're a bad dude, man, doing this and you're in it for yourself, kind of like the Lane Kiffin type of situations. So when you get that side of it, and, I don't know what the difference is, but, I see it on the 6A level where it's just man, that AD is making it about himself and his legacy to move on. And it's just it's just a terrible thing when you get to this high school level. So, and all that, but no, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, it's a two-way street here and, with you and looking forward to next year. I mean, we'll just call it right now because you're big time me in the off season.
We're back. And I didn't big time you after the game. I was exhausted.
No,
seriously.
This is how it went down. This is why the AIA is stupid in this scenario.
Yeah.
So every parent just
forever we're out there.
Yeah, but and that's fine. Go celebrate whatever. But every parent wants to see their kid. They just won a championship. And everybody's just standing next to the gate, just standing there watching the trophies and everything. Dude, it's about family. It's about celebrating the win. Yeah, your teammates and the trophy and all that. It was too long. Then the other team starts coming in. Then when the players and the coaching staff starts coming through, everybody bottles up to talk to each other. It's not a good system and I know they don't want people on the field because it'll be hard to think, but
it was mingling as opposed to celebrating. Right?
Yeah.
It was almost like mingling.
I actually looked at Autumn and go, let's just get out of here. This is taking too long. As we started to leave, that's when I ran into Ty and then Paul and then you came by and because I was like, let's just get out of here. We'll talk to them all later or whatever. And then that's when you guys showed up and everybody started running into me. But yeah, it's just that whole setup. They got to figure because it's even St. John's, I was watching their sideline while we were waiting, right? Like even your dad comes over and your mom, your lovely mom, I love her to death. I'm having them over for dinner, by the way, at some point, just so don't be upset when I do it. But, your mom came over, she saw me, and came over and was talking to her. Then your dad came out. And even then, it's like them trying to interact was hard because of the restrictions they have down there. And it's
so
just
weird.
like, what is happening? And
I got it figured out. Come over, give the team the trophy, let them go celebrate, take your MVPs, have them go do something, but let everybody else go celebrate in the meantime.
This was
take the MVPs.
Just so everybody knows, this was the first time they did the MVP thing. So
it's cool. Listen, it is cool what they're doing. And I think it's cool because they've gone to other states and seen what they're doing in Texas, and they're taking the good things, and they actually let some family on the field this year, which they have in the past.
Yeah.
So they're taking good things. They're just trying. It'll be well oiled. It just takes a while.
Well, it's the restriction the restriction of the way Mountain Point's set up too.
Yes.
There was no place else to go unless we all wanted to go stand in the parking lot.
Literally you have like that little.
It's literally a small. But I was watching the St. John side, and their coach obviously was talking to them, and in the end zone for a long time. But even them, they had more room on that side to kind of spread out. But even then,
there was all the T-shirts.
Yeah.
That's where the whole fanfare and that was our side.
But that
was our side.
But that made it. But that made it. All that stuff made it where they were all bunched together when the kids went through there and stuff like that. And it was just like, what are we doing? And I know I'm being ultra critical of them and everything, but it's like, I dare I say this? It's not about the AIA in that moment. It's about the kids. It's about the families. It's about the celebration of the victory. And they muted it, and that's where I kind of got dis. And like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight at all. And I was like, yeah, my kid was just like,
I'm always right in the middle. I don't say anything bad about it.
Let me talk. I'll talk.
I know. But I'm just saying,
I won't get in trouble.
I know people dislike them. I think they're trying best.
No, they're trying.
But I think, and they're always trying to fix stuff. You know what I love about them? They are trying to do the things and fix the things, and sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. And I know at least what they'll try to do is they'll try to make it better. They're always going to be trying instead of trying to keep it stagnant.
Yeah. Well, no, and you give them credit for that. I know. And I'm an opinion host, and I'm sure somebody is going to email me a nasty thing later on and be like, why do you hate us so much? And I'll tell them, but it's not a hatred thing. It's just, I want you to fix it. Cause I see, and that's the thing about me is I don't have a dog in that fight. I could have cared less. I don't need to go talk to anybody in this moment, celebrate with anybody, and just say hello and hey, I'll talk to you later and move on. And if I have that opinion, I can only imagine how parents and the families of the coaching staff and
that's what I did here. They want to be with their kids, man.
Yeah.
They want to go celebrate.
Oh, the pride,
a special moment.
The pride. I think it's 53, a little short kid on your defense who's fun to watch.
Yes.
Oh my God, his mom was glowing like you've never seen a lady glow before. That guy told her 3 times, you got to have a pass to walk in there. And she did not care. She was like, I'm celebrating. She was right on the edge. She was like, she just ignored him. And I was prepared to go fight for her. Like, leave her alone if he said anything to her.
Didn't care.
Oh, but that's the point that's the point of that moment. Agreed. And they took it away from most of the people. And because by the time the players get there, they've settled down. It's the initial moment, but the picture. Imagine the pictures these kids could have gotten and these parents for the rest of their lives and the memories if they got them right afterwards where they're just beaming. I
agree.
Stuff like that. But that's why I'm being extra critical about it and stuff like that. But
fair.
Hey, man, I appreciate you joining us this year and going extra long today as well. And, we talked in the past. We'll have to get together on this. We should do a separate thing with Ty and, of course, Paul Clark when he gets done with this hunting thing.
Yes.
Let's get those guys in here in the off season and just talk about the season, their philosophies and stuff like that. So we'll work on that. And last show for the year now, you've already committed to coming back next year and stuff to that effect. And, but come in during the off season. I know you're busy with work and stuff, but come in, every couple months and just talk sports with me and Dale and have some fun with us, man.
We'll just talk regular sports. Why don't we get a section for the Bears playoff run? That's what we'll do, right? So
you'll be our Bears contributor. How about that?
Aficionado and tell Gambaloo I always take the over. I never listen to him at the beginning of the year, and it's gonna be the only year that I actually beat him, so it'll be good.
All right, I'll tell him that tomorrow as well. Coach, get out of here. Go get your stuff done. I appreciate this year. Congratulations, and we'll talk soon. All right.
I appreciate it. I just want to say thanks to all the fans that give us fuel too. Really appreciate some of those guys. So,
Right.
thanks a lot, man.
Sometimes it's the negative ones that fuel you, right?
Oh, I love it. Listen, I love it at the same time. I love it all. So I'll see you, buddy.
I'll see you, man. Have fun. Appreciate it. All right. For everybody else, I tell you what, let's do a little overtime here as well. Got a couple things I want to talk about here coming up as well. So let's just roll right into it and with some overtime. And appreciate Coach very much. I know it turned into a gushing fest at the end there, but he's just I've had the opportunity to meet his, talk to both of his parents, mom and dad, and they're fantastic people. But just from an outsider's view, man, that program, and this isn't a knock on any other program. I've seen it with other programs as well, but just that program is set up. They care about the kids, what the kids do. If a kid messes up, they're not overtly negative to them and stuff to that effect. They're there to coach them and approve them. And it's an amazing thing. And it's something when we started this process with them, they were our test, right? And what we were doing here in this stuff, I had no idea that would be I just thought we were going to talk football and, it was just going to be people yelling at people and all of that stuff that football turns into. And it's not. It's a pure thing with those guys. And it's a great program to pay attention to and support and follow as well and stuff like that. So, and then finally, I'll just say this again. We're making the plans now for those of you that hate watch this segment and everything. I'm going to hire some people this year as well to come in. We're going to move forward with the kind of like the Friday Night Lights that Channel 12 does, but we're going to focus on lower levels, the lower levels, right? The 2As, the 3As and stuff to that effect. We want to promote your programs. We want to promote your kids there that are doing great. We want to talk to you as coaches and that stuff. So that is coming here up this fall. We just need you guys to do it. We can come on here and talk scores and read box scores and stuff like that, but your participation in this would go a long way of making this better and quite frankly improving, those levels of stuff. So we look forward to that. So just a little preview for everybody coming up next year as well that way. But hey, Kenny Dillingham, speaking of coaches that we like right now, Kenny Dillingham's out there. Interesting enough, Ole Miss players are now calling out Lane Kiffin publicly on Twitter and other places about how he lied to them, with this press statement and stuff like that. And those are bad coaches, right? Those are coaches that are selfish, out for themselves kind of a deal. And then you got coaches like Kenny Dillingham, right? Kenny Dillingham talked about settling, right? Meaning, are we happy with where we are in the program? Are we going to continue to grow? Here's Kenny Dillingham talking about settling within the Arizona State program.
It's not okay to not go as hard as you can. The acceptance of mediocrity is just not okay. And so many people are so used to accepting being average or accepting doing a minimum to survive that's not what we're about. We're about doing the maximum to flourish. And that's a habit that they got to train, and we're slowly getting there.
I mean, it's he's just got the bug, man. He just wants to keep growing and stuff to that effect, to the point where, check this out. Obviously, today's National Signing Day. We'll see, who they signed, stuff like that. But they got a kid named Jermaine Mitchell. He's a 6'8" offensive tackle. Why is he important? Well, he's ranked number 1 overall in the junior college class. So not only that, he's obviously played college football now to junior college level, stuff like that. But he flipped his commitment to Arizona State. Where was he being looked at before? Georgia. You can't tell me, and it's kind of what I allude to with Coach there, right? Now, Coach Sheehan can't go out there and recruit kids to get them going there. It is a process to get into SEA. They don't let just anybody in there as a private school, and stuff to that effect. But kids want to play for him, right? I talked about this with Desert Ridge, especially on Twitter. Desert Ridge needs a head coach that can get kids to stay in that program and not transfer out to schools in that same area that are, quite frankly, better right now and stuff to that effect. Kenny Dillingham has that, folks. To get a kid to switch from Georgia to Arizona State is absolutely fantastic. That's just one example here of the signing day stuff that we've seen already here today going forward. So if you think Kenny Dillingham's fine with the way this season went, if you think Kenny Dillingham, and we've showed you all year long how he's not, but this he just continues to impress with what he's doing, getting a kid to decommit from Georgia, come to Arizona State. Number one kid too. This isn't a guy that was going to sit on the bench at Georgia for the next 5 years and not play. This is a kid that was going there to play, right, and get in that system and go. So, like that aspect of him. Then if you want to talk another coach here, right? We talk about Jonathan Gannon a lot here. We showed you Drew Penzing earlier in the show as well. Dale brought up Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's hard on his players. He expects them to do their job. And if they don't, he'll talk to them and tell them not to. We talked about my concerns about the Cardinals locker room with this coaching staff. They're complacent. They're fine with the way things are, etc. There's no I'm not going to say there's no accountability. The accountability isn't as strong as it probably should be in that Cardinals locker room. We talked about that early in the show. Go back and watch that, either on the podcast, free podcast, hour 1 is where you'll find that. Of course, on the YouTube page as well, the free YouTube page, the whole show's up there as well. And then this interview with Mike Sheehan will be in the interview section separate if that's all you want to watch out there. Then, of course, here at Robat TV, watch us on demand as well if you don't catch us live out there. And then you got Mike Vrabel here. Now, a reporter's asking some questions about Drake May and things to that effect. And this kind of just shows you Mike Vrabel's attitude. And if he has this attitude with the staff, he talks this way and commands this with his team as well. I don't know if you'll like it or not, but here's Vrabel and a reporter's interaction in his press conference yesterday.
Well, they're never going to be 100%. No connection is going to be 100%. Don't cut me off, Phil. Nobody's going to be 100%. I've said this to you and to Drake and everybody else. The quarterback's job is to throw to the person that's open in the progression when they're open.
That tells me two things. One, right? Jonathan Gannon, Drew Penzing. Oh, we got to look at the film and see if there was tendencies. Mike Vrabel's right there going, look, I tell my quarterback this all the time. Your job's to throw to this guy. That is your job. He says it to the quarterback, and he's saying it publicly to everybody out there. Jonathan Gannon doesn't do that. Drew Penzing doesn't really do that. But then on top of it, look at the respect that Vrabel's given. That guy interrupted him, and all he said was, don't interrupt me. And then he just kept talking. And that reporter shut up. He wasn't rude about it. It was just, hey, I'm in the middle of my sentence. Time to move on. It's amazing watching how these other coaching staffs, and I focus on the successful ones out there, right? Like I told you, Liam Cohen in Jacksonville. I think there's a distinct difference between coaches that have the respect of their players, and I'm not saying the Cardinals players don't respect Jonathan Gannon, but we talked about it earlier. It's amazing to watch coaches with success and how they operate. It's not a fear operation. It's a do your damn job operation. Coach Guy is pretty successful, folks, right, in the IFL, Indoor Football League. He said a phrase this year that I wrote down because I was like, I've never heard that before, and that's fantastic, right? We're married to the program, not married to the player, right? This is our expectations. You're going to do it or you're not. And we're going to have conversations if you don't. And we're going to make moves if you don't. There's always that, I'm going to call it a threat. There's always that threat, right, of you don't do your job, you're out of here. Do your job. Work hard. Get to this job. Do you see that with the Cardinals organization is kind of the question that I have talking about that. Robert does chime in at TME Sports Show. Don't forget, text us 623-252-6670. Autumn says you missed the part about LeBron where his team kept feeding him the ball so he couldn't keep his double-digit game streak alive, and then they sat the rest of the game. We could have talked long and hard yesterday about those Lakers, right? If you missed it, LeBron James got to his 10 points, and then he sat the rest of the game. Like they were getting him to 10, so his streak would stay alive, and he went. First of all, I hate when teams do that. But they did it to him. But then the play where the head coach there of the Lakers was yelling at LeBron because he was chirping with the Suns bench and laughing and smiling with them. And he kept yelling, and he got pissed. He got pissed at LeBron. You could see it on the breakdown on that side there. Look, I'll say it this way about LeBron. One, he knows he's old. He knows his limitations are out there. Two, he knows he's not the star of this team anymore. He knows this is Luka's team, new ownership on this team as well. If you remember, and I think LeBron is, going to enjoy his time. Let's put it that way here at the end of his career. Text us anytime you're watching us, either on demand at Robat TV later in the day, of course, the free YouTube page, or listening on the podcast systems at TME Sports Show. Follow us on Twitter and social medias as well. We'd love to interact with you on that out there. And then, of course, Robert chimes in at TME Sports Show. And welcome to Overtime, by the way. We're doing overtime today. Robert says other high school coaches should aspire to be the leader of young men like Coach Sheehan. Thanks for the great season, Coach. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't want to give him too much props because it might go to his head a little bit here. But like I said, I'm around enough coaches in the high school level and around programs enough where you hear things, you talk about things, etc. Coach Sheehan's a good one, in terms of, I'll say it this way, and he might disagree with this. And I said it to him last week before the game. I said, win or lose in this game, I have no doubt that your players and you guys are going to act, with distinguishment and handle yourselves well, no matter what happened in that championship game out there. And it's hard to say that about a lot of these coaches and these programs out there that you know about and hear about, etc. Like I said, earlier this year we talked about that athletic director that, act out of his butt about stuff and things to that effect. And it's just, you find the good ones, man, and you got to support them and root for them and all of that stuff and things like that. And there's a lot of good, especially at the 2A level, folks. There really is. We just haven't been able to showcase it and things to that effect. And so hopefully that will change next year. Last thing here is yesterday I was watching, the Giants have a bye week this week. And I was watching the Giants GM, who has a job for some reason when Brian Daboll got fired. They should both been blown out because his choices have been disastrous. Forget about Saquon. He's made other disastrous ones as well. He had a Giant press conference yesterday for their bye week. He was over 30 minutes late for that press conference that he called. He set the time. Over 30 minutes late. Tell me what the problem is with the Giants, folks. Then he just went on rambling stuff. He said, somebody had a counter. He said, I know what you're asking. He said that at least 6 times. I saw a counter on it when people ask questions and stuff like that. You don't show up 30 minutes late to your own press conference. What are you doing? Number 2, brought me to this conversation watching that disaster of a press conference yesterday. When was the last time Monty Ossenfort talked? He's got his weekly show there in middays on the radio with Wolf and Luke. When was the last time Monty Ossenfort faced a non-friendly atmosphere? Because, sorry, Wolf and Luke, you guys are soft on the coaching staff. You guys are soft on these guys when you interview them. Sorry, you just are. When was the last time? I did a Google search. June comes up a lot. July 25th comes up a lot. April comes up a lot. Other than his radio hit once a week. When was the last time Monty Ossenfort sat in front of the media and was asked questions? Where's Monty at in this scenario right now where it's 3-7? Again, he goes on 98.7 weekly with Wolf and Luke. That's his radio call. But that's going to a friendly environment. Where's the press conference with Monty Ossenfort in this scenario? Something that hit me yesterday watching the GM's press conference. So the point where I Googled it, I was doing research trying to figure out when he had. If I missed it, you guys let me know. I went YouTube search. I searched ChatGPT search for me. Google searched it. Other than his radio hit in a friendly environment, when was the last time Monty spoke? Where's our GM at here of the Cardinals? Something that hit me yesterday, and I'd like to know. I don't know how you guys feel about it out there, but that's what I would like to know. So, hey, appreciate you guys joining us today. Of course, tomorrow we got Uncle Lou joining us on Thursday as well. Thursday, UFC again this week. 2 more fights this year. Lou's all over that on his Twitter feed and everything, talking about UFC. Of course, NFL talk this weekend as well after that Thanksgiving holiday. So Lou tomorrow, 9 o'clock. I believe he's in studio tomorrow with all the holidays and things being moved around. Of course, thanks to Mike Sheehan today, and congratulations on their third win as well. Folks, see you tomorrow. McCollum on Business coming up live at 11 o'clock. Of course, on demand after that. Like, subscribe to the YouTube page, would you? As well as the free podcast systems for the shows. We're one day away from another episode of The Real Matrix. If you've been watching that on Robat TV, the on-demand ratings have been fantastic for that. The Angry Patriot, talking to him about that yesterday. You know, we need to get the YouTube views up, but we haven't really started promoting that a ton yet. We need to get into that going into the new year. Even his podcast is finding people out there. The Real Matrix is what you search if you want to listen to that as well, folks. So it is out there. A new episode coming up tomorrow as well at noon for The Real Matrix there. So, hey, this lawsuit with 2311 in Front Row Motorsports and NASCAR is right in the middle of it. Denny Hamlin finished his things yesterday. Follow me at the Pit Stop Talk for updates on that lawsuit, what's going on. Maybe we'll do an emergency show here, right, in the off-season here for the Pit Stop for that. Stay tuned to the social medias. Folks, appreciate you joining us. I'm done yapping here. Let's go. See you tomorrow, everyone.